Listen to that riff.
You like that one?
I do.
Oh, I forgot to play you guys the new demo before we started. All right, shut it down. We're starting over. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. That'd be a little much.
We can check it out after.
Yeah.
Did you guys see my Facebook post recently, like today, before you guys came over?
No. What happened?
So I shared this article, and in essence, scientists using that Large Hadron Collider say they're mere days away from discovering a parallel universe.
I've been kind of following that a little bit.
It's fucking terrifying.
Yeah, no shit, dude.
Right.
And they're like, yeah, and when we do it, we could like create little mini black holes or discover little mini black holes. And we think gravity from our universe could potentially leak into theirs and vice versa. And it's like, have you guys never watched a sci-fi movie?
Right, no kidding.
It's quite possibly the worst fucking idea ever.
It's scary. Yeah, I mean, once you start kind of opening those kind of doors, I mean, you're you're opening up a world of shit, pretty much. You know, I mean, that's crazy. But at what point do you where does a parallel universe stop, and where does it start? You know, because I mean, like you look at everything that we do, and I think you and I probably had this conversation before, where it's just like, you know, there's been moments of our life where if we just would have taken the blue pill instead of the red pill, and then all of a sudden our life would have been in a certain direction or doing a different thing, a different repercussion out of what our actions are.
Exactly.
So at what point does that stop for a parallel universe?
Yeah.
You know? Maybe I wouldn't have Josie.
Exactly. I wouldn't be here.
It's a terrifying question. I have a theory. I have a theory that things like that, like, no, somehow, some way in my weird caveman logic, like you were always going to be born, the circumstances of how you and her mother conceived her would have changed. Right. Almost like the multiverse theory.
Yeah.
Could have.
That's what I think. You know what I mean? Because like you are you. And you're defined, how we say, by your code, your DNA, right? So if there's a parallel universe where there's another version of you, but it's still you, then that, you see what I'm saying? You can't have a different...
Scares the shit out of me.
Yeah, no kidding.
The only thing I could see is like maybe there's different, universes or dimensions where you're a boy or something. You know what I mean? Where like that happened, where you have short hair or whatever.
It's weird. It's weird because how would they... Man, because it seems like such a closed thing where you're looking at just one parallel. We're getting so far off.
Yeah, no.
It's just one parallel universe. But wouldn't you think that there's just many, just depending on because supposedly we're given free will, able to make choices of our own and stuff like that, and with all the choices that we make, different things happen. It's just, I don't know. This is really fucking big, dude.
Yeah. Way to start off the podcast. I mean, gosh.
My brain's scrambled eggs right now thinking about this.
Yeah.
You're welcome. You're welcome. No, I wanted to start off the podcast this way because it's always weird and awkward starting these things off, and I was like, fuck it, I'm just going to ask them if they heard about this thing today. We'll start off, we'll just jump straight into the deep end, and then we'll come out the shallow end instead of trying to go in reverse. So
I don't want to sit here and sound smart like I know what the hell it's all about, but it's just like, I have been following a little bit of it, and just like, it just blows my mind that there's just that, I mean, and they're talking about, other forms of travel and stuff like that now that we're kind of getting into this, like they're close to coming into that means of travel where you're folding time and you can get from one place, like if you're at one end of a fucking parking lot to the other end, and it takes 2 minutes to get there, where they literally figure out a way to bend time where you're there in like 10 seconds.
Yeah.
You're like folding it and then punching through it. That's some Event Horizon shit.
Yeah, that's that. I mean, it's fascinating.
It freaks me out.
And it will happen at some point.
Yeah.
I think it's almost inevitable. Yeah. I mean, because we're talking about creating wormholes. That's basically what that is, and I think it's only a matter of time before we do some crazy wild ass shit like that.
Yeah.
Apparently these motherfuckers think they can at least fucking put a pinprick in the 2 layers.
George Lucas, he was onto something.
Son of a bitch.
Son of a bitch.
So thank you guys for coming back and doing this.
Absolutely.
Wally's been on the podcast before, so for people that don't know, just go back in the podcast. Just go back and you can watch. We kind of told your origin story, so to speak. But this time you brought your lovely daughter, Josie. And technically, you've already been here once as well.
I mean, yeah, but my microphone wasn't working.
Yeah, it was a fucking shit show, and we talked about that on your last appearance.
It's whatever.
We got it working now.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think
it's a learning experience. As you're building this thing and it's growing.
I hope so.
I get it.
Some people are going to be curious, like, so what the hell is she doing here? So I'll let you explain the origins of her introduction into the industry.
Josie is my daughter. She's been my daughter now for just kidding.
Well, you thought I was in 10th grade earlier, but I'm not.
I do that loosely, but no, she's an amazing voice and amazing talent. I mean, actually, she's got 2 other sisters, and they all sing very well too and stuff. But Josie has been. She's kind of, I mean, since you were 5, we've been working on.
Yeah, 4 or 5 was when I first recorded my first song.
Yeah, I think it was a Barbie or Disney song.
It totally was. It was a Barbie movie song.
And she says,
"I'll start somewhere."
Right.
And I look back and I'm like, yeah, I was kind of like pushing her into it and stuff like that. I'm like, I probably shouldn't have done it like that, but I wanted to give your mom a birthday present or whatnot. Right. And I thought it'd be the coolest thing ever to have her sing this Barbie song because she was always singing in car rides or whatnot. Mm-hmm. And I thought of something else funny that I got to remind you of. That's what I was going to tell you, and I'll tell you later.
Okay.
But so I pushed her into kind of just recording it because it would be a nice, like, I think it was a Mother's Day gift.
It was something like that. It was a holiday.
Yeah. And so, at first it was just like, she got like through the first line. She's just like, I hate this. I don't want to do this anymore. Just
I got
everything.
bored so easily when I was little, though. Like, my attention span was so small that I got super bored.
Well, being in the studio is not exactly the most exciting version of being a musician.
I mean, I love it now. I love listening to other people do stuff because, I don't know, I just feel like I learn from it better.
Well, when we did, but to kind of cut into the middle of the story, we we
have time.
Oh yeah, I know. Yeah, we do.
Feel free.
Yeah,
tell the long version.
Okay, I'll go long version.
If it gets boring, I'll interject with a really bad joke.
Perfect. But she's been watching me since she was little and stuff. And one of the hardest things ever was being on the road, trying to stay in good places with her and stuff like that. And there's times where I've been gone
relationship wise.
Yeah, you're gone for 1, 2, 3, 4 months.
It's the number one thing that we talk about and suffer from as musicians is maintaining relationships with friends and family.
Yeah,
it's been a big theme on this podcast. And I don't want to interject.
No, go ahead. Yeah,
kind of so to almost make you feel better is like musicians, and you're going to develop this skill as you progress through the industry and you evolve in your career. You're going to learn how to develop relationships with other musicians really quickly and put a lot of trust and faith in them because you have to, because you don't have the same amount of time. The problem is sometimes we tend to also extend that to regular people, but they don't reciprocate as quickly. Mm-hmm. You see what I'm saying? So Wally and I can meet for 15 minutes and be like, that dude's fucking awesome. Let's exchange numbers.
Exactly.
And then every time we're in town together, we'll go out of our way to see each other and we'll build this relationship over 15 years. And we go 6 months without seeing each other and it won't fucking matter.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. However, you develop that and then you think you're really close friends with this regular everyday person and they're like, 2-3 years later, they're like, you're an acquaintance. Like, what the fuck? I'm not going to help you do anything. Like, who the fuck do you think you are? Unless you're really successful and then they're like, dude, I'm your best friend. Yeah. So it could go either way, but
you get those. You definitely get
so
those.
it's a big thing. So in the struggles of maintaining friendship relationships is one thing. I don't have, I'm married now, but I haven't been on the road since I've been married. So I haven't personally dealt with that, but it's super
it's
common,
a thing, man. It is definitely a thing. And with her, I'm watching her grow up as I'm getting off the road, and I'm hating every minute of it. Just like knowing that, I love performing. I love getting out. That's what I do, or it was for a long time. Not so much anymore. But and having those evening phone calls before she's going to bed or whatever. And this is what I was going to tell you. Like she would end every phone call Like I wouldn't hang up on her because I'd want to, first of all, she'd make me sing a song to her, one of my songs.
The Nana song is what I called it. It's Favorite Things.
Yeah, a song called Favorite Things off of the Crash Anthem in a Red Room record. And so she'd make me sing it to her every time, and then she'd like, this is how she'd end every phone call. She'd be like, I love you. Okay. Have a good day. Bye. And it was it was scripted in your head. I don't know if you heard your grandma say that or your mom say that.
I was such a brat though. There was a lot of times where I ended the phone calls just like right away when my mom handed me the phone because I would just get so irritated.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
Yeah. And it was, there's just the absence of having me around. It drove me crazy. And I know it drove her nuts too and stuff.
I used to hide his keys when he was with me.
She did do that. But I'll tell you what, as our relationship progressed and she kind of got to see what it was and what I was doing, like her first concert was Crash Anthem and Flyleaf at Myth.
And I love Flyleaf now. Like I listen to them all the time.
Yeah, so she's on the side of the stage.
That band, didn't they have like one monster song?
Yeah, and they're kind of Christian metal, whatever. And
they were supposed to be the next big thing, weren't they? Like a Paramore almost. They were
kind of
or almost before Paramore.
Yeah, she's an incredible talent. I mean, the girl.
She's so good.
She can sing her arse off. But yeah, and I mean, packed house at Myth or whatever, and she's
How
over.
Old were you?
Oh God, you had to be
3.
Nice. Okay.
And so
cool.
she's got her hair up in this like little like Cindy
My Pebbles
Lou Who.
ponytail.
Yeah, Pebbles ponytail. And she's jumping up and down on the side of the stage. And I swear to Christ, the entire place was not focused on anything that we were doing. They were just watching her over on the side of the stage, like going this little cute.
Awesome.
And
so you were playing?
Yeah.
So you were opening for these bands
for Flyleaf,
and you were on the side of the stage?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And
see, that's a cool inside baseball moment for music. It's like when you grow up seeing it from a young age behind the scenes, even if it's not a packed house like that,
for sure,
at a major venue like that.
Yep.
Like for me, it was just bar gigs and shit. But like, it's one thing to like see it and be like, I want to be a musician. And it's a completely different style when you grow up around musicians and like, yeah. Pretty cool. You're pretty lucky to have that be your first thing, and then to see your dad out there jamming. That's got to be pretty wild.
My mom made these T-shirts for me, and then the guitar player's son. It said "Sky Babies" on the back.
That's adorable.
Yeah, it was fun, and it's gotten to be a lot more fun now that she's gotten older, and like we can have conversations about the industry and everything and stuff. And she's kind of seen it now firsthand too, where there's a band in town called Firefight. And they were signed by the Silent Majority Group, which is Universal. And so they had, while they were doing the record.
Silent Majority Group?
Yeah.
That is, they might want to consider a name change.
I know. Yeah,
no kidding.
Yeah. But I know, no shit.
That doesn't have the same connotations it once
but it's,
did.
Nope. It's, not at all.
I know, no shit. But they've been around for the last like 15 years or whatever, 15, 20 years. And they've had everybody from Candlebox on their label to I want to say Tantric and like a few other few other kind of middle range nationals or whatever. And but they got their star. Jeff, I want to say Jeff Hansen is the guy who runs it, and he was Creed's guy for the longest time. And so, and I got to hear a lot of interesting stories about the dumpster fire that is Creed.
Scott Stapp.
Yes, exactly.
Creed, the band was, there's no issues. There was one guy, Creed, and all the issues.
And he's out of his fucking mind from what I understand.
Yeah, that's what I've heard.
And, but so they came up while we were doing the Firefight record, and they had the song called Speak Up that's on their debut album. And there was a part that had kind of an echo response kind of thing to what Mike the singer was singing.
Yeah.
And it just happened to be, I'm like, this would be a really fucking badass idea, or else you guys are going to hate it. But
yeah, no kidding.
But can I entertain the idea of putting my daughter on this for a female voice to go along with the part? And she killed it and, cut it and killed it. And next thing you know, whenever they're doing shows, Josie's up there playing with them and stuff like that. So she's kind of got her first taste of it. And literally for her first night for their like release show or whatever, it's packed house or whatnot.
Oh God, it was so many people.
And she, I get a message from her. I'm playing up north somewhere, and she's like, "Dad, I was so mad. I want to do this for the rest of my life." I'm like, "Hold on,
like,
slow your roll, kiddo."
Yeah, I was obsessed. I was loving every minute of it, and now I get to play shows with him.
And how old were you when you performed for the first time?
In general, or with them?
With them.
With them, I was 15.
Okay. That's still incredibly young.
14, 15, something like that.
15. Yep.
15.
Yep. So I think you actually tracked the part.
I tracked the part when I was 14.
Yeah.
But the release show was when I was 15. It was at the Doghouse in Maplewood.
I think I was at that show.
You might have been.
I think I was at that show because you weren't, correct?
No, I was playing
wasn't.
somewhere else. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, I think I was at that show.
I'm pretty sure I had a My Famous Friends gig that night or something like that up
Yeah.
in like Bruno, Minnesota or something or whatever. Somewhere that,
Somewhere that was super worth missing your
Yeah,
daughter's
no kidding.
debut performance.
I was so mad.
Real Dad of the Year award
Right.
winner right there.
That's what I said too. I gave him so much crap for that. I was so mad.
Yeah, it's tough because that is my job. That is my, unfortunately, the half of my income comes from going to do Friday and Saturday nights out in Albany, Minnesota, or wherever it might be, up in Freeport, or just whatever.
Yeah.
That's, or maybe we may have even been in Fargo. You
were farther. You were pretty far
away
away because I wanted you to come after you were done, but there was no way you would get back for it.
Yeah, it sucks. I do get to miss the moments like that. It's just, but that's just all part of the industry, unfortunately.
So so basically, if I'm understanding this right, is you kind of brought. I mean, your children were always musically inclined, but you kind of brought her in almost intentionally as a way to spend more time with her. So almost
sure.
what I've talked about on the podcast for a long time is weaponizing the weakness. Like, okay, here's the weakness. I can't spend enough time with my kids because I'm doing all this music shit. Okay, figure out a way to spend that time together.
Yeah.
Now all of a sudden that's a strength, and that's probably your two greatest bond now.
Yeah, well now now she sings backup for Skywind.
Yeah.
Now that when we do our occasional once
a year.
Yeah, one a year or something like that, or whatever it might be. And then,
today was a year ago we played a show.
Was it really?
Today, yeah.
That's why Rich called me the other day.
I just had pictures pop up of it. Yeah.
Makes sense.
But now we're it's like we're trying to write for her and stuff too. It's just right now it's just a matter of.
So are you going solo right out of the gate?
I'm gonna try to. I have one song so far down, and I want to make a record out of it, but it's a slow process.
It is a process, because part of it too is with me doing recording and stuff, I know where her voice is at for her age. For her age, it's great. It's advanced for every 16-year-old kid. But if you want to appeal to a more national audience, it's just got to mature a little bit more.
Yeah.
Do you have aspirations to be in a band?
Oh, 100%. Yeah, this is what I want to do.
Versus be solo?
Whatever happens with it, I guess. I'd be good with either, to be honest.
Because if I can give you some unsolicited advice, do the solo thing and never stop doing the solo thing, and allow yourself to jump in and out of other projects.
Yeah.
Because I've been talking about this with a lot of people here. You and I have talked about this. If you're let's just say you're in a band. Let's say we start a band, right? And we're called the Knuckleheads, whatever, right? And then the Knuckleheads break up. If your entire career and musical identity is built on the Knuckleheads, and now that band is done, you're done. Your entire career is grinding to a halt.
There is a thing with that, yeah.
And it's a lot different when you're the singer. You can naturally build your own deal. This more applies to the instrumentalists, the guitar players, the bass players, the drummers, but also the singers. Because when that band breaks up, you want to be able to do what he does and be out there a week later playing your own gig.
Exactly.
And then it's just it's the smartest move. So if I'm giving you any advice, is don't feel like you have to choose. Just take the options that you're interested in.
Yeah.
At their disposal. And obviously you're probably helping her write a lot of the music, I would assume.
Yep. So it's kind of a cool little operation we got. I mean, granted, we have songs and we have ideas all over the place right now. I'm trying to get her to get into the mode of writing lyrics.
What's it like for herself? Have you written music with anybody else?
No.
So you've only written music with your dad?
Yes.
So what's that like?
I like it.
Do you ever want to punch him in the face?
No. Oh, okay, I take that back.
And you guys haven't written enough songs together.
Well,
right? No shit.
Here's the deal: is because I can't write lyrics. I can't do it. Can't do it to save my life.
Fair.
I can write poems. I can write poems like nobody's business, but I can't turn it into lyrics.
Okay, let me ask you this: why do you consider those to be different things? And what do you? Let me ask you this before you even answer that: what are you defining as lyrics that are different from poems?
I just feel like the poems that I write, you can't use those words as lyrics. They're too, like, when he writes songs, he turns them into something different. Like, he makes them flow better than what I'm writing.
Well, I wonder if that's more experience, though.
Definitely,
no question about it.
100%.
Yeah. With I think with her, it's kind of a matter of like we have the song called December, and
that was my freshman year, so 2 years ago.
Yeah.
We did that song,
and so I'm like, I need lyrics for it, and she's like, well, I can't write lyrics, so I'm like, well, send me a poem, send me some thoughts, send me some feelings, just throw it out to me and stuff like that. So I more or less kind of took those words and stuff like that, mangled them, and just created the lyrical content for the song out of that.
Yeah,
and I it's terrible when you hear me try to do a female voice over over
yeah,
over
and it
one of her
also
songs
helped
and stuff.
too, like with that song, like that was about me going through a super hard breakup. So I like
being in ninth grade. I
being
understand.
in ninth grade, but it was
Those sometimes were the toughest breakups.
it was my first
I don't know what
relationship.
you're talking about, Wally.
It was my first relationship. It was
You and
really
your
hard for
male
me.
privilege over there,
No kidding.
not understanding the difficulties of high school breakup. Do you know how many of us still aren't over our high school breakups?
Exactly.
So
Well,
there's people
because-
married with kids that are still like, fucking James. I'll never forget 10th grade fucking sophomore dance. I seen him kissing Jenny underneath the bleachers. That fucking pervert.
Fair enough.
I poured my heart out
Yep.
about it to him.
And that's good.
And
That's what you should do.
Yeah, we had
in
long
poem form.
But like we had long talks about it in the car, and like I told him everything that happened with it, and like I was crushed. It was my first relationship.
So why
like,
can't you apply the poems? Is it like a rhythmic thing that's the problem?
Yeah, I
Okay.
think so. I think that's part of it, definitely.
So I think I've heard this before, and I think one thing you could try to do is just write more poems. And then instead of hearing a song and being like, I want the lyrics to be about this, you just, when you start hearing before I finish this, let me ask you this. Do you have any comfortable or uncomfortable issues with writing the melodies?
I guess I don't really do that. I kind of leave that up to him.
Okay, so right now you're more of a performer than a writer.
Yes.
So you're still okay. So
Definitely.
you're still growing. Okay, so that's a whole different thing then. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
Yeah. I was a shit writer back when I was 15 and stuff like that.
Yeah, I wasn't very good either.
Fade to Black was the greatest song I'd ever heard. And just like
Yeah.
And so it's just like I tried to write Metallica riffs, and I'm just not that kind of guy. I don't think I actually like for myself really came into my style until about 2014, maybe 2015. Really figured out exactly what I wanted to do and what I wanted to, or figured out me enough to be able to write something that's heavier, or write something that's more moody or melodic or whatever the hell, And now I've got it down to kind of like a science. Now I'm 43 years old, and of course, so it's like, took me fucking long enough. But some people are just gifted enough to get that at a younger age, and I just think most people don't.
Yeah. I feel you, dude. Like you know how long I've been talking to you about this project, and it's just now coming to fruition.
10 years, dude, at least.
Fuck, seems like
it.
Yeah. Seems like it. At least from when I first started the idea. That sounds like it wouldn't be insane. Like I probably brought this idea up when I was in the Tyrants, which would have been about 26 through 28.
Yeah, so right around then.
Yeah, and then fucking, I probably didn't even start writing the music until I was 30.
Yeah, right.
I didn't finish it until I was 32.
Yep.
And then it took me 3 years to put a legit band together that worked, and everybody was like either capable or had the right ideas to contribute. And we're still not done fucking tracking the goddamn thing. Like, we're not even close. We're still in pre-production and in writing, but we're getting closer. I'm not mad about it or anything, but I feel you, dude. Like, it takes a long ass time to hone in that writing style. So my only advice is just write as much as you can now, so you're not 35 by the time you fucking figure it out. Because that's, I mean, don't get me wrong. If you can find people to help you write along the way.
Right. Like, I'm really blessed to have him as like my teacher, kind of.
Aw.
So.
But it could also backfire too, because it could handicap you from needing to exert. Because I think the creative mind, like when it comes to songwriting, is like a muscle. It needs to be worked out. It's got to be in shape. And when guys lay down their instrument for, sometimes it's 3 months. For me, it's usually like a year when it happens. When I come back, man, it's like I can't write anything.
Mm-hmm.
And now I've been writing again for a solid year, and I'm still not writing anything good. Like, it's all trash. Like, I've written probably 30 songs in the last 9 months, and not one of them is worth keeping. Not one of them.
Yeah.
But that's part of it, right? Like, do you know how many bad songs I wrote before I wrote my first good one?
Yep.
And I understand that. And then your style evolves, and your style changes, and your interests evolve and change, and it's hard to keep up with.
Did that Sleeping Giants record, the Skywind kind of reunion record, in 2014 that came out. And we hadn't played together since 2009.
Yeah.
And that was just me and Rich and Steve that were left in the whole thing. And during the course of that time, I had all this opportunity to write all this music and all this material. And I had maybe when I actually sat down and put shit together, it was only, I think collectively, it was an 11-song album. I think I came up with about 20 songs, but still, and there were still 9 of them that were just complete shit, and I would never show anybody.
Yeah, I've always asked guys about that too. Like, how do you write? Do you write for the album? And so for people that are confused what the hell I'm talking about right now, writing for the album means like, okay, we're gonna write a song now, and it's going to be on the album. And then the other way people write is you write a collection like that, 20 or 30 songs, and you pick the 10 best or 12 best or whatever, so you get a solid 45 or hour long worth of music for your LP. And that's a huge, I say do whatever works for you, right?
Yeah.
But man, I write for the album.
Yeah.
And then sometimes halfway through, I'm like, this song just isn't good enough anymore. And then I cut it. And then I'm like, well, now we're short, so we got to write a new song.
But you want to create something that's cohesive, though. You don't want granted,
you want to flow the right way.
I do think the one biggest strength I think Stone Temple Pilots had, even you take a look at their first record, Core, where every song on there is very different from the next song. And then you get into Tiny Music and Purple and all the other records that they did and stuff like that. Every song you can very much differentiate. My as much as I love And Justice for All, so when I was younger and I was first listening to that record and I'm fast forwarding my tape deck or hitting the CD and stuff like that, am I on the same fucking song that I was the last time? You know what I'm saying? Because the tones were all the same, the musicality was the same, the just everything, the driven aggression, which And Justice for All as a whole, as we know, is a classic. It's a great album,
right?
But and now especially I'm older, I can dissect it a little more and stuff like that too. But the thing I think that made STP such great writers and very successful, not as successful as Metallica, of course, but just to be able to, not one song sounds like the fucking last song that you just heard.
A lot of that's because of the genre difference too. There's a tradition in metal where every song tonally sounds the same. Yeah, because that's my guitar tone. You don't just, but in rock music, you would drastically change your guitar tone from song to song.
Yeah,
and I remember us running into that. I'm not going to say his name because I ain't trying to sound like I'm talking shit about him. But I was in a band and we were working with a producer, and our guitar player was very frustrated with our producer because he was trying to do that. He was switching up the tone on every song, and he's like, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah.
And he's like, I don't really want to use the same tone on every song. And he's like, listen, motherfucker, my tone is my tone.
Yeah.
And we will experiment with different effects on the leads and solos and things like that.
Yeah.
But leave my shit alone. It's a philosophical thing that goes in a metal genre,
And the only time I can really see that working is if everybody's on board with it. You don't just as in producing any kind of music, I don't think you should try to control the artist to make it your direction.
Right.
You should figure out a way to take the artist's vision and just make the good great, and and get rid of the fat. You know what I'm saying?
Yep. Trim the fat.
And yeah, so I've heard a lot of different producers and stuff like you can always tell, as much as it worked for U2 on the Joshua Tree and stuff like that. Dan Lenoir and Brian Eno have a sound. And if you listen to their solo records, it sounds like the fucking Joshua Tree,
right?
You know, but it worked out for U2, where they sold gazillions of albums, and they still sell today. My grandparents even owned a copy of the Joshua Tree, right. You know, which I thought was incredibly weird. But it's a great record. I still listen to it today. It's fucking timeless. Like, they figured out for some reason that connection just worked. You know, and sometimes there's good producers who just align themselves with the right artist at the right time. Like, I even thought, like, you know, Fleming Rasmussen for Metallica and stuff like that. I thought he was a much better fit for that band, for those, you know, first or for Ride the Lightning, Puppets, and for Justice. Like, he fit that sound for that time. Mm-hmm. Then Bob Rock came in and fucked the whole thing. Because, I mean, they made a Bob Rock album. You know, I kind of think that Bob Rock kind of shaped that band a little bit.
I think we talked about this on the last podcast.
Maybe, you know, I mean, if you listen to the Motley Crue record that they did without Vince Neil and John Corabi singing, it's a fucking awesome album, but it sounds just like an offshoot of the Black Album, and which sounds like an offshoot of the Skid Row record that Bob Rock did called Subhuman Race, that nobody knows about. It's a fucking great album. Very punk rock, very just piss and aggressive, but it's got those same drum tones, same triggered drum sound. It's all the typical Bob Rock go-tos on those three albums. And so it's like, I look at these records and I'm like, okay, now is this the band actually speaking, or is this Bob Rock digging his nose in too fucking far and altering the sound? So I don't know. I mean, I'm just shooting from the hip on it and stuff like that. But I mean, I wasn't there, you know.
Well, it's something I've always been curious about, and I'm sure you've kind of been curious about this, working with your dad and seeing his impact working with other musicians. Is how much impact does a producer have? How much impact does this producer have? And how much impact do producers have with these artists or any artist? You know, like, because that's a whole different variable. It's like having a new lead singer in the band.
Yeah.
I feel like from watching him work with other bands, he always tries to find a happy medium where he wants to make everybody agree with it and he wants to make it sound good.
Which, you know, ultimately, you know, I think that, you know, production's production to a certain point, where a lot of it, like Carl Deemer from Atomic K, where we did our first album at, Carl's like, you know, production is 10% music, 90% psychology, you know, because you're sitting there trying to deal with all these different personalities, all these different ideas and stuff like that, and you've got to sit there and you've got to juggle this universe and put together this puzzle and have it just be that perfect puzzle by the end of the day.
Well, and you've talked about fucking. You can say I'm not even sure I remember the correct band name, which is why I'm not going to say it, because I don't want to put anybody on blast. If
no, that's cool.
They're right fucking people.
It's cool.
But you mentioned there's been bands that you've worked with where they came into the studio and they didn't even have songs written. They wanted to do an album, and I think I'm going to try to quote you. Dude had a handful of riffs.
Yeah.
I believe was do you know who I'm talking about?
Yes.
You don't have to, I mean, you can. No, I'm not trying to.
Yeah. No. It's cool. Keep going. Yeah.
That's got to be an interesting thing, because it's like, who even wrote this album now? And I'm not saying like whether you deserve or want credit, but I'm saying when you start thinking about it in that process, because it's like, it's one thing the way I did it, right? So this is the easiest way to do this. I'll use myself as an example. I came to you with basically finished songs.
Yeah.
Almost completely finished, like drums, guitars, pretty much everything. And I even had vocal ideas, but I didn't like them. So I was like, let's see if you can come up with something better, right? And I remember I'm sitting there with you and Rich, and we're listening to them, and Rich is like, dude, these are like full songs. And I remember you turning around and you're like, yeah, so what do you want me to do with these? And I was like, help me, like, you know, finish them and make them better. And I remember you guys are like, they're pretty much done. And I was like, yeah, but they're not. They need like intros and outros. And you guys just kind of chuckled like, dude, you don't need a producer for that. But in my mind, I've worked with a real producer and I've worked with what I call glorified engineers. I'm not looking for a glorified engineer to just put my shit on a recording. Me and Dalton can do that. I want a producer that's going to go into the songs with me and go, you know what? We did that with one of my songs. You were like, I hear a spot here. I hear a spot right here. That's what a producer is to me. And so finding the right producer for the right musicians, that's got to be huge. Because you're basically helping me take my if it's done at 10, right? I'm bringing something to you that's a 7.5, 8.5, and you're just putting in that extra little sauce to make the stew taste as good as it smells.
Yeah. Yep.
When you're in a situation like that, though, man, where Duder brings you a handful of riffs, that's like saying, let's make dinner. I got an onion.
Yeah, pretty much.
You feel me?
That's a very good way to put it, actually. Yeah,
no kidding.
Yeah, but I mean, there's certain things that, where you can hear something, when there's something special in front of you. And it's...
But I've only experienced that as a band member is what I'm kind of getting.
Yeah.
And that's what I want you to elaborate on. When you're not in the band, you're a producer, you're an outside guy.
Yeah. Well, when we did
basically writing the whole album.
We did a record with Kevin from Candlebox. And so he flew out from Hollyweird and literally spent about 4 or 5 days with us in our rehearsal space, morning, noon, and night, going through all the songs that were going to be on our record. And
hold on. Who is it? This is Duder from Candlebox.
Yeah, Kevin, lead singer guy.
Okay. And you're recording his album?
No,
he's coming in to help record
he's coming.
your album?
Yeah. So Skywind was recording a record called The Kill, and which eventually turned into Crash Anthem inside a Red Room because we got dumb and changed our name, which the name Skywind's a fucking worse name anyways. Well, that's a whole other thing. But
you should name your band Guywind.
I know. Seaweed. Fucking I was never a fan. But
and then people will just pronounce it Guywind and be like, is that just a glorified fart joke?
Right. No shit. But
for people that are confused, that's a big inside joke between the Skywind boys, is that people could never pronounce their simple name properly and they call Skywind.
Yeah.
Fuck everything, right?
Yeah,
you guys got it all.
It was so dumb. But I mean, you could definitely tell who knew who the fuck you were. I will say that, because if somebody said it wrong, you're like, no, you have no idea who the hell we are.
You just read my name in the press clipping.
Yeah, exactly. So, but when Kevin came out, he had like a couple weeks to digest the demos or whatever. And so within like four days, I think it really was, he came in there and more or less chewed apart so much shit. And it was my first time, I think, actually working with somebody in a true outside producer format, where with Carl at Atomic K, Carl was very just, let's record the music, then we'll throw the candy on it and the post. Carl's really good for the post-production shit.
Did Candlebox, did they work with a lot of local bands here?
Uh-oh.
Just you guys?
No, it's just us, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. Are you still friends with those guys?
Kevin and I'll message back and forth every once in a while. Okay. Usually if it's business related questions or something
How did
goofy.
that process go, working with somebody who's coming in and ripping your shit apart for the first time ever? Because up to that point you were kind of a local legend. You probably accidentally surrounded yourself with a lot of yes men.
Absolutely.
So nobody was ever willing to be like, dude, that part fucking sucks, dude.
Yeah.
Everyone's like, dude, it's great. It's great.
Yep.
It's great.
Yeah.
And then this guy comes in with a bigger ego than yours because he's fucking
right.
You know what I mean? And I'm not saying that in a shitty way. I'm not saying that in a shitty way. I'm not saying either. Yeah. I'm not saying you had a big ego. I'm not saying he had a bigger ego. Badly bigger ego. Ego just means sense of self, right? So he's got a stronger, bigger sense of himself.
He's a big
than you did of yours.
Yep.
So he comes in. He's got the confidence and the equity behind him to be like, listen, I don't give a fuck about how you feel. You brought me in to do a job and help you make your songs better. This shit ain't working. This is why you brought me in. But what is that like to have your ego just completely destroyed? Because I'm saying it with the assumption of knowing it had to be somewhat devastating.
Nah, I think when I listen back to the record now, there's a few things that I would have done differently. I maybe would have fought a little harder to get my vision across on, because I don't think it translated very well live. Because when I'm putting together an album, I'm not just trying to sit there and bullshit the listener that this is going to be exactly how, the band's going to sound just like this, and then we're going to be doing this and that. Like, I want to make sure that they're getting a true representation of what a live sound would be from one of my records. You know what I'm saying? And that's not even just a Skywind or Crash Anthem. That's whoever I work with, Vaudeville, Wither the Tide, Emergent, whatever. I want them to feel like that's what they're going to hear live, and they're going to get their fucking ass kicked by what's coming at them like that.
That's interesting, because I write my music with the exact opposite philosophy.
Mm-hmm.
I write my music. This is why I'm so fucking, and I told you this day one,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not cool with recording this album this way. I need to get all these motherfuckers in a room for 2 or 3 days, and we rehearse these songs and flesh them out.
Yeah.
So we know what we sound like.
Yeah.
And then our job is to capture that on record.
Mm-hmm.
You're not doing that, and you haven't for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
So that blows my mind.
Yeah.
Because you're writing something in the studio direct to tape, essentially,
Mm-hmm.
even though there's no tape anymore. Sorry.
Right.
But that's it. Lingo, music lingo.
Yeah.
You're going basically direct to tape,
Mm-hmm.
and in the back of your mind, you're going, yeah, but we still got to pull this off live.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but we still got to pull this off.
I don't ever want, and yet this is also pertained to our last podcast too, about knowing what your abilities are as an artist, as a writer, as a player, to know that you can maybe push it a little bit too far, but reel it back. You know what I'm saying? What you were saying before.
I think we talked about that on the episode that didn't air. Is like, my advice is push it to 11, and then including with your physical vocal abilities, push it to 11, and dial it back a couple notches, and you'll always be within your abilities, and you'll also be like constantly pushing yourself.
Less prone to fuck up. But yeah, when Kevin came in, we kind of, I remember we all went out to dinner and stuff like that. We just kind of talked about the whole vision for the album and stuff, and then we started rehearsing the next morning. And
let me pause you right there.
Yeah.
I want you to just elaborate on that before we get too far down this rabbit hole.
Okay.
When you're writing an album like that, so you sit down, you're going to dinner, and he says, okay, tell me your vision.
Yeah.
What is that conversation like? How are you describing to other people? Because they're not in your band at this point. Maybe some of them at the table are, but the guys you're really talking to, in this case, is one guy, but they don't understand your vision yet.
Well, as a listener,
what was let's start there. What was the original vision for the album?
We wanted to kind of, because we did when we did the O2 record, it was very big and very keyboard driven. Very, very keyboard driven, with the heavier tones and stuff like that. So that was mixed together on that, where when we did the Escape Plan album, it became more of a rock record versus just using the big giant keyboard sounds and stuff like that. Like there's like the song Escape Plan is just a very fucking, just 4 on the floor. It's a fucking Motley Crue song for the most part.
Sorry, you were just sitting there.
And so more or less what we want to do is we liked elements of both those things. So I think we kind of want to try to combine it together and create this thing that we feel like we had matured into, or at least because I was writing the majority of the songs or whatever. So I kind of felt like that's kind of the direction we should go.
Is that how you pitched it to him that night?
kind of, sort of. Yeah. I think with him, because
so you're not necessarily talking about like lyrical concepts and like the message. You're talking about the sound.
No, but don't get me wrong. Kevin's a very save the whales kind of guy.
Fair.
Okay. So
no, I get that. I'm just trying to get in your headspace. So like you're talking to him about like trying to describe the overall sound of the music necessarily.
Yes.
So you're not even going
the aura, the ambience of
you're not
the
going
record.
into like when I came to you and I was like, okay, here's the deal. It's Coheed meets Misery Signals.
Yeah.
And you were like, I don't listen to either of those bands.
Yep.
And I was like, all right, here's what you got to do then. Listen to this record.
And I did.
Listen to this record. And then if you want to hear like the other dashes and splashes, listen to these 3 records. I'm taking all of that. And you were like, I don't know, dude. That's what everybody told me when I told them. They're like, I don't know, man. Those sounds are really far apart from each other.
Yeah.
And I was like, but I hear it in my head.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And you, like everyone else, said, okay, come to me. Hit me up when you got some demos.
Yeah.
And I sent you some guitar riffs, and you were like, I need more than that. That's just a riff.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, it was a whole song. It was like a 7-minute song with no drums. It was just all the guitar riffs. Like it was like, and he's like, get me drums, give me this.
Yeah.
And then finally I started
it helps interpret your vision that way. Yeah.
And so once I had a demo, then people were able to realize my vision.
Mm-hmm.
You had a band already that kind of had a sound.
Yeah.
So you're just kind of going, here's where we want to go with this. He can already kind of imagine at that point, okay, well, you got Brian on guitar. I know what Wally's voice sounds like. So they're going to try to go this direction.
Yes.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So and Kevin being,
Did
touring
he shit all over it?
doing what he does. No, not at all. He just
I
had
was kidding.
No, I do. But there were some things
not.
we had a song.
I want to
called,
make an album like this. That's a terrible idea.
we have a song called "Me, Myself, and You," And like the whole vocal idea on the front end of it for the verses and stuff like that was so dumb and boring, and I didn't realize how dumb and boring that I wrote it. And he's like, as soon as we started playing, he's like, all right, stop. I'm like, just immediately from the get-go, and I'm like, what? And he's like, try it like this. And motherfucker was right. He knew exactly what the proper delivery should be for that. And especially from him coming as a vocalist, you know, he's more of that Janis Joplin kind of style where he throws it out there and
so did he come in as a vocalist to help you, or did he come in as a producer to help write the album with the band?
The album was written for the most part. There was like 2 songs that we did with him being kind of there for the writing process, but the rest of it was just kind of you know, just him just kind of refining things, moving some shit around, adding some extra breath. Because that's one thing that I do that I've had to learn as a songwriter, is that there needs to be a moment of patience on your album. You know, you just can't just sit there and just blast the fucking listener. You know, give them that little moment where you kind of throw it back a little bit. So then when that next big crescendo comes in, it's like, holy fuck, that's awesome.
Yep.
You know, dynamics, you know, there's dynamics in your song. There should be dynamics on your record too, as well.
Again,
and
that's
I was bad.
I sought you out when I was like, okay, I need a real producer for this. Who am I going to talk to? And I was like, Wally's, there's 2 guys, and one of them, like, I don't want to say he's too big for me, because he's not, but I can't get him to pick up the phone. You know what I mean? It's like, I'm not worth his time of day type deal. Like, because he'll come out of the woodwork to work with like a national artist.
Yeah.
But he's turned into kind of a recluse. Like, all he does is fucking fish. That's all he does is go fishing now, unless the right person calls him, and then he'll like, I'll produce your record, and then he'll come down and do it. But but even him, like he'll do a lot of that production stuff, but I haven't seen the same resume. And what I mean by that is, like, I've known Jeremy for so long through Isuna and through Period by Hope and Wither. Like, I've heard his early demos and what those turned into over time. And I know that you were such a big part of that, and going, okay, if he can do that with those ideas, he's going to be able to do a lot with mine.
Yeah.
So there was a confidence there that wanted me to try this. And
well, you sing too, so it's like
I used to. And poorly.
Well, but you understand the concept of melody, right? You understand the dynamics of a song, the proper song structure, all that kind of stuff.
I'd like.
I mean, that's a big thing, though. You know, it's like there's some people I'll get in the room, and they've got great ideas and stuff, but it's just not like, you guys aren't listening to the part. You can listen to it and you can hear it. Oh yeah, it's a cool riff, but just those little ins and outs, those little peaks and valleys of a song that matter so much.
Yep.
And I'm going to give credit to my buddy Dan Dryden, who's in My Famous Friends with me. He was a bass player for Stuck Mojo. He was in Fozzy with Chris Jericho. He even fucking jumped into that hairball disaster. But Dan's ability to listen and to hear music in every little nuance, every little rhythmic thing, like from how the bass and like the kick drum are just locked and need to be like one instrument, and just how that coordinates the entire fucking band around it when done properly. And just these little nuances, like, I've become such a better listener because of that guy, you know, and it's definitely helped me in my songwriting, in production, all that kind of stuff, you know, just having those people around you, because sometimes you think, you know, when you get into, even if you are, you know, if you're a touring act or if you're doing production or whatever, sometimes you kind of get set in your ways. You need a little reset.
Right.
You know, so it's good to get involved with some people who, you know, and Dan's got his name on, you know, 300,000 albums, you know, and so it's like, he knows a thing or two. I can trust what he's saying and stuff like that, and which is why I think he's one of the best bass players in this fucking town, because he understands the concept. You don't need to overplay. Kind of, again, going back to, he's capable of doing the 11. Does he do the 11? No.
Right.
You know, keeps it right back because it's strong and it's in the pocket. It's fucking right on, and you can feel it, man. Yep. That's, you know, and that's the most important thing.
Yep. Yeah, and like, it's got to be interesting because had you guys actually worked with any major producers or other songwriters before that?
For Skywind?
Yeah. I'm trying to go back to the original story.
Yeah, not. I mean, like I said, Carl's done so much stuff for Atomic K. But he's
how the fuck did this come to be? Did you guys tour together? Like, how did you?
Carl?
Yeah.
No, he. It's kind of funny. We Profile Music, you know where that is on University in 27th.
Yeah, we used to rehearse.
Yeah.
Do you remember? I think I've told you this story multiple times. I met your dad years before it was so funny. They blew me off so hard. Have I told you this story?
No.
I don't even know if I know this story.
I'm pretty sure I've told you this story.
I'm sure you probably have, yeah.
Do you want to hear the story?
Of course.
So, I start my first band. Now, my first band, I wrote all the music in high school, right? Mm-hmm. I recorded this demo CD. It was me on one guitar, direct into a Boss distortion pedal or an Ibanez distortion pedal, so it sounded like trash. Okay. You think the demos I sent you sounded bad. And then there was this old keyboard at my school, and it was a music school, but they weren't set up for metal. But I found this like really good sounding drum kit in this keyboard, and they had an MPC, which is mainly for hip hop production, if anybody's confused or curious about the equipment we're talking about here. And so I learned how to sample the sounds from this keyboard into this MPC and assign them to these pads that I could just smash the shit out of. And I kind of knew in my head what drums were supposed to sound like. Mm-hmm. So it was just a matter of time before I figured out how to write drums. And I had been jamming with this other guy, actually Nick, who's been on the podcast a few times. I had been jamming with him in a previous band. So I'd seen him play drums. He had kind of taught me a little bit. He taught me how to play air drums and kind of learn how songs are played. And it kind of taught me the theory behind that. Man, I thought those drums sounded amazing. They did not. They did not sound amazing. They sounded really bad. And I didn't realize it until I just went back like a couple of years ago when I bought this house. We moved in, and as I'm unpacking shit for the garage, I found this old stack of garage CDs for the old CD player in the garage, and one of them was that demo. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Popped it in. It was like, I'm surprised I ever put this band together. But the music was actually pretty good, and that's probably why people were like, it sounds like shit, but this is actually like, these are well-written songs.
Yeah, if there's good songs.
Especially for a kid, right?
Yep.
So we start playing out. We rent our first real rehearsal space at Profile Music. And we're I don't remember what the fuck we were doing. I think we were outside smoking weed or something stupid. We were dicking around. We weren't doing anything serious, but they were loading up for a show or a tour, or coming back from a show or a tour. I don't remember. Mm-hmm. But we could see they had all their shit, their gear. We seen the logo on the side of the whatever. I don't even remember what it was. I don't even remember if it was a bus, a van, a trailer.
Yeah,
I don't even remember what we seen.
Yeah.
But it was you and the whole crew.
Yeah.
And I walked up and I was like, so you guys are Skywind, huh? And a couple of your roadies, I guess your friends, right? They're like, well, they are. And it was like you and I think Rich. Could have been Derek by this point. I'm pretty sure it was Rich though, because it all said Skywind shit.
Yeah.
And it was you, Rich, and I think Brian. Maybe could have been a bass player, don't remember, but I was like, hey man, it's really nice to meet you guys. My name's Jared from 7 Months of Nothing. We rehearsed across the blah 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 blah. Someday we're gonna open for you, man. And you guys are like, cool story, bro. And you like shook my hand and then immediately blew me off. And then it was the best part of this story is one of you guys walked over to one of your crew people and were like, get this fucking kid out of here. And then some dude walked over and he's like, hey man, glad you're a fan, but we're really busy, so we're gonna need you to clear out, man. And I was like, it's all good, man. Someday we'll
definitely
be friends.
Was not me. That is not a move that I would have done. Not at all. Not at all.
I mean, hey, you kicked Tommy Two-Tone out of your show once.
I did kick Tommy Two-Tone out of one of my. I told you about that one, right?
It was just funny.
I think we talked about it on the last podcast. To be honest,
it was just one of those things where it was like, I'm gonna do this. And here's the thing: is like, I don't think we ever did.
No,
I don't think I've ever opened for you. I'm not even sure we've ever actually played a show together.
We've never played a show together. No.
I don't think so.
No.
So here's the closest we ever came. When Bill Berry called both of our bands and we played a rigged battle of the bands up at a casino he divided.
You guys
it
were on the night before or night after.
Yeah, that's the thing is we didn't
Yep.
share the stage the same night. We shared
Yep.
the same stage, but it was like a festival.
Yes.
And there was a rock night and a metal night, and it was two battle of the bands, and they played the rock night and we played the metal night. And we were there together, like we partied with you guys the night before and shit. But the night before our show,
that was a very interesting evening because not only was it just a goofy setup and whatnot. I mean, it was the whole thing was run by friends of ours and shit like that. We weren't even going to make the drive, but it was rigged and I felt
the
bad.
Pay was undeniable. Though.
Yeah, you couldn't deny that.
I mean, we got paid thousands of dollars, Josie. Thousands of dollars.
But for me, it was the second time that I got to run into Rich after, years of not speaking to each other. And
that
so
show spawned the Skywine reunion.
Yeah.
Coming back.
Coming back to more or less, be a part of Crash Anthem, and then we can Crash Anthem, and then redid Skywind. And so that was a weird turning point for us because that was a big thing for my relationship with the guy now.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's funny just how life just kind of worked that way. So
I know.
I guess I'm supposed to be friends with that motherfucker, and I love him to death. And he's still to this day, regardless of if we agree or disagree on things.
Well, we didn't know you guys were booked. We didn't know you were booked.
Oh, really?
Yeah. He just said, come up the night before.
Mm-hmm.
And so we came up the night before and we walk out there because that's when we found out. They're like, you going to go check out the bands? And we're like, we don't play till tomorrow night. And they're like, no, there's bands playing tonight too. And we're like, really? And they were like, yeah, it's a rock night tonight. And then you guys are doing the metal night tomorrow night. And we're like, oh, cool. Yeah, well, fuck it. Let's go check out the bands. So we all fucking go get our beers and we walk out there. And it's fucking, I think it was, you guys were playing while we walked out when we got there. And it was like, holy fuck, it's these guys? Get the fuck out of here. Like, holy shit. This is fucking this. And I just remember looking at Jeremy in fucking, not Montoya, Blake. And Jeremy looked at me and he goes, dude, we're going to burn this casino to the ground. Because he just knew. He knew. Yeah. He was like, we have this many friends here. He's like, we're going to be unstoppable. That's great. I could see the look in Jeremy's eyes. He's just like, they don't have enough security guards.
How did it go that second? Do you remember?
It was a shit show. Okay. It was a shit show, just like your night. It was terrible. Yeah. It was absolutely awful. The bands played well, but the whole thing was just, it was a rigged battle of the bands. And
do you remember what casino that was at?
Nope, no idea.
I don't either, dude. We did a casino show. It's got to be about 4 years ago now. Yeah, something like that. It was here. This is the lineup. Okay, and mind you, this is a dry casino. This is and some friends of ours are pretty big. Which I know that's kind of an oxymoron right there.
Keep going. You just reminded me of something else.
But it's the entertainment department there is run by some friends of ours and they're super great people. Shout out to Res Dog if you're watching this and whatnot. But you had Dokken as the headliner. Okay, then you had Great White as direct support, and Firehouse and Skywind was the opener for the show. And for those of you who have not, you know who Dokken is, right? You're familiar with Don Dokken? Okay. I'm just making sure, okay, man, because some people all right, anyways. But
fuck do you think you're
come on
right now,
okay,
dude? I will end this fucking podcast right now, motherfucker. I will turn this car around. You son of a
shut your
bitch.
mouth when you're talking to me.
You talk to me like that, you son of a bitch.
So this happens, okay? So we go and we do our set. Well, it's a dry casino, okay? We're all being sober. We're playing by the rules. I don't want to piss off my friends or whatnot. And so we're Rich has his van out there, and he's got the back gate of it open because we were loading in and out of some gear and whatever the fuck. Don Dokken comes and sits in our van, okay, and pops open this large giant bottle of Jack Daniels. And cuts off
because he's Don fucking Dokken.
Hold on.
Dry casino or not,
right?
He'll do whatever the fuck he wants.
Have you seen how horrible he is lately?
No, but I'm just saying, there's only one more man that has more equity to do whatever the fuck he wants on this earth, and that was Lemmy. Rest in peace.
Right. I don't know. I mean, I was a total Dokken fag when I was fucking 8 eighth grade, 7th, 8th grade, or whatever the fuck. I
need that dump button we talked about.
Right? Yeah. You said it was gonna be me. That's not me.
Whatever.
That was a different F-bomb than what we were thinking
whatever.
about.
Whatever. But I loved Don Dokken big time. I was a huge Dokken fan. Fucking I knew every single song by the time I was 13, 14 years old, and so for me, it's kind of a cool experience to go out there and do a show with the guy. Dude, he is the fucking worst. This guy, and it's not because it's like, at some point
it's like hanging out with Lars Ulrich.
He doesn't need to make the money. Like, this guy has enough money to do whatever the hell he wants to do. He doesn't have to be out there performing and embarrassing himself over and over.
That's what you mean.
It's so bad. And he doesn't have the range.
Maybe he doesn't have the money. Maybe he's fucking broke, dude. You'd be surprised.
Maybe,
man.
I know, maybe he got the David Bowie deal and got totally screwed. I have no idea. But so pan to, so we're waiting for the shit show that is Dokken, as we are getting off stage or whatever the hell, and he's sitting in our van, bottle of Jack, cuts off a fucking Pepsi bottle or something like that, cuts off the top of it, and he's making himself fucking Jack and Pepsi's, whatever. And of course, Rich walks up. He's like, "Dude, get the fuck out of my van. Just get the fuck out of here." Just like, and sorry, and
he
so
doesn't even realize it's Dokken or doesn't care.
So he doesn't care, man. He doesn't give a fuck.
Stay the
fuck out of my van, because it's a dry casino. We're not going to get in trouble for your stupid ass or whatever.
He did know who it was and just didn't give a fuck.
Yeah, it didn't.
God,
so
that's why I love
and no, it's great. So apparently Don Dokken, from what I understand, is an atrocious alcoholic. Fucking, he's got a problem. Well, his wife and his kid are there with him too. It was obviously a fly-in date or whatnot. So he makes a mistake of, getting this bottle of Jack. I don't even know if they knew that he had it. Well, when he set it down in the van, he forgot it and he fucking left it there and runs out to go do some other things and stuff like that. And so that bottle of Jack stayed in our van.
Nice.
My guitar player, Brian Adams, who I love Brian to death, but Brian could be that borderline, like, if we let him drink too much, he's gonna drink too much. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's gonna go for it. And then our sound guy Petey at the time, and Petey is this 7-foot giraffe and who loves to get fucked up. And so sure enough, you couldn't have left a bottle of Jack with two worse people sitting in a van together, just sit there, shooting the shit or whatever, drinking the shit out of Don Dokken's fucking Jack Daniels. So middle of the Dokken set, they're playing like Mr. Scary, or they're doing something or whatever, where it's a big old guitar solo jam session, and Don Dokken, and I'm in the van too, I think, at this point, and fucking Don Dokken opens up the side door and he's all just like, "You guys see my Jack?" like looking around, like, "No, dude, it's all not in this van," knowing that my guitar player and Petey are just whoa, 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 just taking the whole damn thing down. And so he shuts the door. I walk outside. I'm just kind of humoring the situation, looking around. Dude, he's on all fours, scrambling around, looking underneath our van, digging in the garbage can, like everything. And his wife's just fucking sitting there looking at him like, "You pathetic piece of shit." Like, fucking, like, just disappointed as hell. And the kid's standing there and everything too. And he looks like a complete fucking moron. And so,
that's horrible.
Mind you, I'm kind of like, "Oh God, dude, all my childhood dreams of meeting this guy who I thought, was a superstar to me back in like 7th, 8th grade. And now he's just, no, just a complete waste of it." So I go back in the van, and there's Petey and Brian laughing their asses off about the whole thing. And I'm like, "You guys polish that thing off." And you're like, "Fuck yeah, it's gone." And so Dokken has a song called "Breaking the Chains," and then there's that, "Now I'm breaking the chains." So it's got that part going on. Well, I open up the door and Petey's like, "Now you ain't got no Jack." Like, it was just like his whole just singing it right on key and everything like that with the band. It was so freaking funny. I'm like, "You guys," but yeah. So he was dubbed Creepy Don Dokken after that point. Like, because he was, dude. He just that look in his eye of just,
the shark eyes.
You guys see my Jack? Oh, dude, totally. Eyes. It was weird, man. It was super, super weird, but too funny.
That fucking sucks.
It does suck. I hate to see somebody with a dude who had that much star power and that much ability. From what I understand, when Ronnie James Dio was tracking his solo stuff back in like the 80s or whatnot, earlier 80s, sometimes he couldn't hit the highs. And so what they would do is they'd bring in this little Donnie Dokken kid, and he'd come in and hit the high notes for him because their voices have a very similar timbre when they get up into that register. So it was Don Dokken that was actually you're hearing on some of those Dio records and stuff. It's crazy, man. It's totally crazy. Just
interesting
studio tricks.
Yeah, fuck, dude. We could do a whole podcast on just studio tricks.
Whole
fucking podcast. Yeah. Like the way guys will double a solo and they'll be improvising through most of it. They've only got like 1 or 2 parts actually written, and they'll just solo and solo and solo, and then the fucking producer will chop them up, put them together, fade one in, fade one out. You can hear it on certain recordings. I think it's old. I think the most egregious example I've ever heard, and it still somehow works, I think, and I may be mistaken, it's Appetite for Destruction. You hear different solos from Slash being faded in and out. Yeah. But it still somehow works, and then when he plays them live, he just puts them together and plays them.
Listen to Layla. You've got, if I'm not mistaken, on Layla, on the old Clapton track.
I could be mistaken that it's not Appetite, but I think it is.
But you've got Dwayne Allman, who's actually playing on that song, if I'm correct on that. So you got Dwayne Allman soloing the fuck out of the end of Layla, but then you've also got Clapton doing some stuff too. So it's like you've got these 2 monster guitar players that are kind of working against each other, but for some reason it's working. You know what I'm saying? Like it's pretty cool, man.
I think I've heard Halen do it too. Eddie Van Halen, I think I heard him do it on some old records. Yeah, and it's an interesting thing because that's one of the things I've kind of went through on my journey of recording over the last 20 years is like even the ones that are like the best, like that shit still ain't truly written beforehand.
Right.
Like they got some general ideas, but like those solos and shit, they're pretty much finished in the studio, and then guys will have to go back and learn them. Sometimes they're like, I don't even remember what I was playing there.
Yeah.
So,
dude,
like,
I write songs.
I
write songs, and I'm doing that for my own shit. And I'm like, I don't even know if I'm gonna have to. I know how to play this. Like, I don't even know if I can. Hey, Brian, play this part because I freaking can't while I'm singing and stuff like that. Like, so my body just doesn't work that way sometimes. You know, it's funny. Yeah. No, studio magic though, man. I mean, I had to cut up some guitar solos the other day. I'm working with a project called Season of the Witch right now, and it's a guy who used to be in a band called Heaven's Gate. His name is Nate Mathiasen, and he has had a spell with made some bad decisions, got involved with the meth culture and all that kind of stuff, and now has it sucks, man. I what a shitty thing to have to fall into, I guess. Not have to fall into because it's a choice, obviously. But so Nate went to treatment, went through the whole spell and everything like that, and more or less got together with a bunch of guys who were in similar situations and are putting together this project now that is to more or less go around and play like treatment centers and stuff to show people who are going through their addiction process and working out these things and their problems and stuff like that, hey, there's life after this shit, Yeah, you lost everything. You can rebuild. You can figure out a way to do it. Yeah, life kind of sucks right now, but you got to figure it out and stuff. And it's a pretty cool thing that they're doing and stuff. So I jumped onto the project just because I just felt like it was.
What's it called?
Season of the Witch.
When are they going to be out?
I'm thinking probably within the next month and a half. I know they've got some guest solo work from a friend of mine, Brian Rademacher. He's got some stuff on there, and then Phil from American Gothic. Do you remember American Gothic? I think he's doing some stuff. Maybe even I know Benji Hellberg's name has been thrown around a little bit and stuff for throwing an occasional thing on there. I don't know. It's still a work in progress, but the album's recorded. They're just adding in some extra little overdubs and all that shit now and stuff. So
that's pretty cool.
It sounds good. It's kind of a punk record, but I think it'll be received well for what they're trying to go for, and I fully support somebody who's trying to go out there and over conquer over their addictions and stuff like that and try to make a difference in the world.
Yeah.
So yeah.
What are you guys working on? You mentioned something earlier. Are you writing an official album? Are you doing
trying
something?
to? Yeah.
Yeah, it is a work in progress, and now my schedule's ape shit.
Do you have anything up now?
I don't think we have anything posted online. We
Not
probably
any
should.
originals.
Because the Firefight thing, if they're signed, I can't play that. That's licensed,
right?
And I sometimes can get away with appealing it if it's the original band member on the podcast to promote that music. I can get away with it and appeal it, and they'll give it to me. But since you're just doing backing vocals on it or an extra part, I don't think I can pull that one off. They'll flag me for that one. So I can't play that one. But...
Yeah. I recently did a cover of Uninvited by Alanis Morissette.
Okay.
And that's on YouTube.
That is up.
Yep. Yeah.
We should play. Well,
yeah, that's another one too that you might get.
Alanis Morissette.
I will. I'll
flag me for that because I just got busted for the last few ones.
Really?
I got hit for like 3 or 4 out of the last.
No,
5.
do they totally demonetize you if you do that, or they just make you, or do they make you block that section out?
You got options. You can appeal it. You can trim out the segment. You can do all kinds of shit. So we can play it and then. I'll just have to trim it if it gets flagged.
Yeah,
that's fine.
I've seen some other people have some issues with that too, where YouTube has jumped in, and
I just don't fucking get it because like those guys that do the reaction videos, have you seen? We've all seen those now, right?
Yep.
I can stop saying like, "Do you guys know what a reaction video is?"
Yeah,
everybody knows what that is now. Fuck, for Christ's sake,
right?
I'm such an idiot. But yeah, that's I don't remember what my original point. Oh yeah. I don't know how they do it. I don't understand how they get away with it.
Well, like if you follow Rick Beato at all, are you familiar with him?
Where's your video?
So just type in Uninvited Josie Niemiec is probably it'll show up.
You gotta get that branding tag, girl. Yeah. Uninvited. Do you even know what I'm talking about?
I have no idea what you're talking about. What's that?
You're either Josie or you're Josephine. You gotta pick one. You gotta get that branding tight.
Oh yeah. Yep.
I know.
Yeah. Come on, guys. We're in showbiz. Fuck. We may not have been fucking guest stars on the WWE fucking SummerSlam, but we still made it a little bit. Jesus Christ, guys. Come on. I expect her to be a little confused by some of the shit I say.
Yeah.
Yeah, so basically it's just consistency because if you're Josephine or you're Josie, people don't know how to search it. They get confused, you know. It's like, whatever.
I mean,
it is a thing.
My dad...
there's that. And then should I type in cover?
Sure.
Oh, wait, no. You said your name.
Yeah.
See, that's because, you can see how good of a listener.
So did you put...
I am a good listener. It just takes a while. Did I spell it right?
Jose.
Oh, of course it is.
Phine.
Oh, right, because you're named after your father.
Yes.
So cute. So adorable.
It's the first one.
Whose idea was that? Was that yours?
No.
Usually I get a late night phone call or somebody going, Dad, I've got to do this song.
No. I'm talking about the name.
Oh, my name.
Oh, your name?
Yeah.
Oh.
So when she was born, you were like, I want her middle name.
No.
And she was like, I'm not naming her middle name Joseph. And you're like, fine.
Yeah.
You changed my name into girl version. Her name will be Josephine.
She was, that was all Stacy. Stacy thought of that. So yeah. Yeah, because Stacy's middle name is Marie. Josie's
if I can't have son.
Yep.
I don't know why I turned you into a maniacal German dictator.
Right.
No, that was all her mom. Definitely. But yeah.
We're just going to play this. And if I get flagged, I'll figure it out.
Or else maybe I think you can get away with like 13 seconds or something like that, isn't it? Or
that's what I was saying about the reaction video. I'm not sure how this works, but I really don't give a fuck right now.
Okay, fair enough.
I do what I want.
Fair enough.
I think this should work. I think I hit this correctly before we started. As long as it...
So coming up here in this breakdown part, she's behind me singing because we're just doing this at a friend's house, recording this, and like this is just totally one of those like proud like goosebump moments where she totally gets the dynamic that the delicacy that this part needs right here. If you want to listen to it, yeah,
I'll turn it back up.
So that's pretty much the gist of the song right there. But
that's really good.
Like,
thank you.
Just sitting there tracking
her. I slapped the like on it.
Thanks.
But just tracking it there and stuff like that, and hearing her go for that moment, it's like a total goosebump moment, especially as like a father. But it was just like, holy shit! Like, it's very impressive.
Yeah, it's just dope. It's really good.
Thank you.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's really good.
Thank you.
It's really good. It's really, really good.
But yeah, so we like I said, we have a song called December. We did another country song or whatnot that I kind of wrote with a little Page and Plant influence on it. But she doesn't want to do the country thing, I guess.
Yeah,
so it's
not really anymore. Now that I've because we wrote that December song, and the Alarm Bells is what the other one's called. We wrote that before I ever got the chance to work with Firefight or sing backup for Skywind or anything. And now kind of the rock and roll kind of stuff is more what I want to do versus the country stuff.
That's what's hard about writing music when you're young, is by the time you get something done, because it's so hard when you're young. It's so like
your style changes.
Like right
so
now,
fast.
you and I could bang out right now a fully fleshed song on recording on all the instruments.
Yeah,
like I could grab guitar and drums. You could do fucking bass and vocals, and we could start a song and end a song. And there's a chance it would actually be pretty decent.
Yeah,
literally write it, record it, mix it, master it, and put it on the internet, and people could hear it in less than 3 hours.
Yeah.
When you're starting out in your music career, it takes you like months to write one song that you're confident in and happy with, like, and all that kind of shit. And so by the time you do that, let alone like with a whole album, you're not even into that shit anymore because you're young. Your likes change. And
I just think
your
that
interests change.
Maybe if I redid the vocals on Alarm Bells a little bit, I'd like it more.
Yeah.
But same goes for December. Like, I love that song, but I was so, like, I don't want to say so much younger when I did it, but my voice has definitely matured since I've done both of those.
I wonder if it's almost more beneficial when you're this age to just seriously just pump out. Don't worry about writing good songs. Just like pump out the style. Do a country album, do a pop album, do a rock album. Try and even fucking try a metal album. Who gives a fuck?
Yeah, if you're that young,
bang them out as fast as you can. Well, I'm actually not even just thinking if you're that young, but if you're that young and you have somebody like you in your corner, because we could do that. Like, you want to do a metal album, Dalton and I got riffs that we're not using. You know what I mean? We could just do one.
Yeah.
And you don't have to put them out there. I would advise to do so, because no one looks at a young musician like that at your age and goes, this is trash. I don't ever want to hear this person again. They go, holy fuck, this person's only 17, 18, 19. Like, wow, this is actually pretty good. And then the phone starts ringing. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I'm curious because I went through this journey, and this is one of the things I'm excited about with this podcast, is like exploring this and what other people think on these things. Because you got these 2 albums out, but now you got all this other experience under your belt, and you're kind of like, man, fuck that shit. I don't want to do this shit anymore. I want to do this other shit.
Yep.
That's tough.
I get it. But yeah, you're young enough. You should be. And music is so different now. Like, I feel like, because of the ability to listen to whatever you want at any time you want. Back when we were kids, it's like you had to go and buy CD at fucking Music Land or Best Buy or something like that, and that's what you had in your car. Where now everything's on shuffle, on on Spotify or whatnot. So, you can be pigeonholed as a metalhead or something like that. But then you've got Bruno Mars sitting in your playlist somewhere. Or you've got, whoever, whatever it might be.
And almost everyone is paying for those premium services.
Yeah.
So it's not like it was 5 years ago where you were literally almost at the whim of Pandora or Spotify to tell you what to listen to. Right. Now, people are like, they've refined this thing. You pick one, Amazon, Google, fucking iTunes or Spotify. People pay that $10 a month for the premium, and they download albums. They build a music collection just like we did. Only it doesn't take up an entire wall in the fucking bedroom. You know what I mean? That's seriously though. People are doing it, and people have come on the podcast and bitched about it as musicians. They're like, "Yeah, it fucking sucks for us." Blah 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 blah. I'm like, "Yeah, but here's the thing. You have to admit, whether as a musician or not, as a music consumer, this is better.
Yeah.
It is better.
Yep.
Like, and people are like, the music doesn't sound as good. I'm not 100% convinced of this whole theory, right? Like, people go, it was better on vinyl. Okay, well, first of all, vinyl, that was vinyl, right?
Yeah.
Like we've had like 2 different mediums since then. We've had tapes and CDs.
Yep.
So like, you're not going to sit here and people are like, CDs still sound better. And I'm like, Okay, here's the deal. Maybe. But if you have a nice pair of headphones, it's going to make a bigger difference than going from fucking iTunes to CD with a shitty pair of headphones.
I mean, when I'm in the car, I still pull out CDs. I listen to his Crash Anthem record and Escape Plan and all those. I still listen to those in the car every time I'm driving. That's what I listen to.
I only say it because it's becoming like if you go buy a brand new car, which you're going to be probably doing pretty soon here, even if it's not.
I already
she's got one.
And it has a CD, and it has a CD player in it.
My mom's does.
Okay,
so when I use my mom's cars, I do
so does my wife's, which I would have referred to as a brand new vehicle until I realized it's already 5 years old, right? And then now they don't even come with CD players anymore. So it's like not an option. So when all these guys are like fighting it and resisting it, that's why I've been talking. Like, I'll give a shout out to fucking Glenn Wadey from the Grand Machine. They're doing stuff like this where they are doing a vinyl record, a colored limited edition vinyl record. When you buy that record, you get a digital download card.
God damn, these things are expensive though.
But it's
love them.
But this is the only way people are going to give a fuck about buying a tangible item anymore.
Yep.
So just get the shit out there, man. Just make the music, get it out there. You got nothing to lose, right?
Yeah.
Like, just fucking get it done.
Yeah,
and if you're gonna do merch and shit like that, do those and sell them to where you break even. Like, you're not gonna make money off that. That's a glorified piece of promotional material. That's a novelty thing for huge diehard fans that are gonna buy it, unwrap it, bring it to a concert, have the whole band sign it, and then put it under glass. Like, that's what you do this kind of shit for.
It becomes a piece of memorabilia at that point, like a proper piece,
and they're limited run to begin with. So if your band ever does pop, these will really, truly be worth money because it is still a real record that actually fucking plays.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, dude, but I will say this about the digital thing. It's like, I love I love the days of selling CDs at your shows and everything like that, or even like, before music did go so digital, passing out CD samplers before shows or after shows or whatever, flyering. That was like a technique that we always used to get people to get interested. But however, when it comes in terms of album sales, yes, do they totally rip you off? No question about it. iTunes is a fucking monopoly, man. I mean, even just us releasing our app for Apple takes so much of that shit. Like our percentage is so fucking small, and Google actually for whatever reason pays more, which I was kind of surprised per app.
What app is this?
For Bingo.
Oh, okay.
So with
you're talking your ad revenue because the app's free.
Yeah.
We talked about that on the last podcast.
Yep. So they take.
If anybody wants to know what the fuck we're talking about, go find Wally's previous appearance on the podcast. We're not going to keep going through the backstory.
Bingo.
I understand. We've doubled the subscribers since you've been on. I get that. We talked about that before the podcast, actually. But still, I'm not going to make them and make all the listeners go through this every time they're on. I'm sorry. I apologize. We will repeat stories because I'm not going to make you go look at every fucking podcast. Oh, if you want to hear this story, go back. I'm not going to do that. That's rude. But we're also not doing an origin story every single time you guys are on. If you're interested in what the hell we're talking about, invented a Bingo app. It's called Bingo. Go check it out on the last podcast. Blah, blah, blah.
But even with the way that music is distributed now, like I can look and check my sales and see exactly where everything's coming from, and the majority of my sales over the last 6 years has been from Europe. Like I'm getting more hits from Germany, from UK, fucking everything else than we still get good sales over here and stuff. But now that it's that much more accessible, and I think the European palette for digesting music is so much different than what we have here over in the States, where
it's harder to make it here. We have an elitist mentality about our consumption, which I'm not mocking the American citizens. I actually kind of take this as a point of pride, even being a musician. Like in UK, if you're a musician, you could be the biggest fucking act in the UK, but the real music industry as a whole will be like, yeah, but you ain't shit until you're big in America. And then they go to America and they fail. And then the industry is like, they're like, okay, you had your shot. And they like kind of wash their hands. And then they go back to the UK with their tails between their legs. And no one ever knows because they're still huge over there. And then there's American bands that no one has ever heard of here that are fucking huge in Japan, Germany, Switzerland, Finland, all over the world. They'll play literally to like 100,000 people and then come home and no one knows who they fucking are.
Well, take for example,
and some of them are like, it's actually better this way.
Just right.
I live a normal life at home,
right across our border.
If I had to pick one, I'd pick that.
Yeah, but
sell to 100,000 regularly overseas, and then come home and live a normal life. That's the dream,
dude. I'm
not even going to put my music out.
Very
in America.
appetizing.
That's it. It's decided.
But could you imagine?
Produce this record? It's not even coming out in America.
Have you heard of the band called? Have you heard of the band called the Tragically Hip?
I've heard of them.
Okay, in Canada, they're fucking huge. They do
That's
well.
Another one. Yeah,
they do well all over the world. Everything's great. They can't even get across the fucking border here into the U.S. other than maybe in North Dakota and Minnesota. And
let's get them down here.
You know, it's just like nobody gives a fuck about this band, and they're gigantic up there.
Let's put together a show down here. We
right?
No, we can. Like
I think
if they, because the thing is it doesn't matter how big they are.
Yeah,
it matters how difficult they have of booking. So if we can fix a problem, we could easily reach out, fucking book a Skywine show. I'll get my shit together. I'll fucking have my group open.
But even like
for real,
remember,
I'm not
then
even
you'll
joking.
get to have that show you wanted to open for them.
We just figured it out.
There you go.
That's how we'll finally get to share the stage. Because we've been joking about that for years. When I do finally get this, you got to let me open for you. You know that, right?
But like why the fuck is Tears for Fears playing at First Avenue? No disrespect to Tears for Fears or First Avenue, but why the fuck are they playing there? You know, where they go back overseas and they're playing stadiums. Mm-hmm. You know, it's just like
because the American people have moved on until their music blows up in a movie or a video game.
Yeah.
Or we get the next version of Guitar Hero. Do you know how many bands that resurrected the careers of that?
Oh, absolutely.
That game. The Guitar Hero.
What just reignited Phil Collins? Why is In the Air Tonight all of a sudden huge again? It was on something or some. I don't know if it was a game or something or a movie, but all of a sudden it became the #1 downloaded song on fucking iTunes.
Okay,
and
I don't
understand why that just happened.
Here's what I did see.
Mm-hmm.
This does not confirm or deny that it was in something.
Okay,
but I started seeing it go viral because there was these two black kids that do.
It was a reaction video. That's yes, you're right.
And so once they build up, and it's always the best ones are always the black kids experiencing white music.
Yeah, I do.
The white dudes experiencing black music. It's like, bitch, you've already heard this. Don't act like this is the first time you heard the fucking Temptations, motherfucker. Like, get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
Like some fucking dude who's like, you can clearly see in the mirrored angle off the fucking edge. He's got an NWA poster behind and he's listening to Tupac acting like, oh, this is cool. Who's this? This is Tupac. Like, get the fuck out of here. No. So it's always the best ones are the black kids listening to rock music, like either rock or metal. And it was these two young kids, and they were listening to In the Air Tonight. And then they were like, oh, this is cool. And then all of a sudden the drum hit, the drum solo, and they were just like, ooh. And they like paused it and had this crazy reaction. They were like, I never heard a song where the beat starts in the middle. Like, it was just so cool. And it's like, there's a bunch of them. There's these other two dudes that like listen to old Metallica shit.
Oh yeah, that's what I was going to go back to though. When we're talking about demonetizing and all that kind of stuff, Rick Beato does this thing called "What Makes a Song Great." You'd love the shit out of this guy.
It's fantastic.
What is it? A podcast?
It's kind of a podcast thing where he goes through and he dissects all these songs, everything from Alice in Chains to.
Is it YouTube or iTunes?
Yeah, it's YouTube. Yeah.
Okay.
So it's everything from it could be the Beatles, it could be Zeppelin.
He did the Cyndi Lauper song
could be,
that I sing.
Cyndi Lauper.
Could be Alice in Chains. It could be Megadeth. It could be whatever. Like, he'll go through and points out all the shit that like because he gets all the individual tracks and everything, and he kind of like solos them out and all that kind of stuff. And like there was a Blink 182 song, say it ain't so, I will not go turn the lights off, carry me home. Oh, yeah. But he's like, and to us it's like, me hearing that, it's just a fucking pop punk song, whatever.
I used to get to rehearsal when I was like 17. I'd show up at rehearsal, and everybody's like quiet. You know what I'm talking about, because everybody's just loading in their shit, and I just go, all the small things.
Yeah.
Only I was young and didn't smoke that heavily, so I could hit that note, and it was just all the small things, and the whole fucking room would just, because it came out of nowhere, and just I would look around and everyone's like in their shit, and somebody always get the shit scared out of them. Oh god, I hated Blink-182.
Yeah, and I wasn't a fan either, but then when Rick Beato went in and he pulled everything out and he's like, this is why this song is fucking cool, because there's actually this dissonant fucking keyboard line behind this part that makes you that actually fucking without hearing it, but you're hearing it, subconsciously pulls at your heartstrings, and it's just like, motherfucker, he's totally right. Yeah, that's absolutely what you can just tell. Like there's certain little tricks and certain little things in every song that you just, you know, especially when he pulls apart like a U2 track or something like that, like there's shit all over the place. As simple as that band is, and is very, you know, just kind of like plain Jane in their songwriting, there's all this extra shit going on that sometimes you're not really listening for, just because, you know, you feel like you've heard one U2 song, you've heard them all.
Well, and they say that's one of the secrets to genius, is writing something that's actually extremely complicated and difficult to play, but it sounds simple. Like on execution, people are like, that shit's easy. Like, I'm into the metal stuff, man, because it's like you really got to be at the top of your game in order to perform it. But that fucking U2 shit is just too easy, man. Like, anybody can write those songs, and it's like, no, you can't. No. Like, there's actually same thing. You know, another band that's almost exactly like that is Aerosmith.
Oh, absolutely.
Aerosmith is another one of those bands there where it's like it sounds like it's this fucking simple, easy music, but it's like, dude, and actually, to bring it back full circle, to kind of like, so we don't fully digress, country music, some of the most complex musically artistic music out there, whereas like when I say musically artistic versus like popularized artistic, you know, like this shit is like, country musicians are always some of the best at their instrument.
Well, they're all metal players.
A lot of them are.
You know,
a lot of them are.
I went down to Nashville a few years ago to do this thing called Rare Hair. And so what it is, it's literally, I mean, you can't count the fucking Grammys in this room. It's insane. So it's like all these national country players, all these 90s and 80s rock stars, and we all get together and we drink a lot. And we play.
Dude, you got to bring me one of these, bro.
I know.
And so we... and I was involved in the first one, which was really cool. I was put on a guy by the name of Tyson Leslie. He's the keyboard player for Vixen, if you remember the band Vixen from the 80s. Yeah. And so he put it on, but I'm literally on stage playing with Taylor Swift's drummer. I've got Paul from fucking Winger playing guitar for me. I've got fucking Eric Brittingham from Cinderella over here on bass. Fucking like, and everybody's just jamming. We're playing like a bunch of B-side, like 80s cover tunes and stuff like that. Dude, it was a fucking riot.
Dude, you gotta bring me one of these things soon.
Crazy.
If you ever go back, you gotta bring me.
But it's like, and it's not very like, it's open to the public, but it's mostly just for the musicians in there. And they're all these country guys are all metal guys.
Right.
You know, that's where they started. You know, they learned their fucking chops and their playability off of, you know, playing the fucking old school shit, dude. But and I mean, these are some of the best players in the fucking world. So they know what they're doing. They're going down to Nashville to get these session gigs or whatnot and get a touring gig. But they all have chops like fucking crazy. These are some of the best down there, man. It's intimidating. It's very, very fucking intimidating.
They have those fucking little mini conventions here, and I'm surprised nobody's done a vocalist one yet, because I think somebody started a bassist one and a guitarist one, but they have these like get-togethers where some of the best drummers in town, and like sometimes there's names in there too, but it's the local heavyweights.
Yeah.
And it's all drummers, only drummers, and they get in there and they just shoot the shit and hang out. I don't even think they play any drums. They just sit there and talk drums. Yeah. It's fucking wild. It's the coolest thing. And I'm pretty sure bassists started doing it, and then guitar players started doing it as well. I don't think there's one for vocalists, but it's the same thing. It's like you get in the room with
vocalists are all dicks.
Well, it's because you'll all just want to talk about yourselves.
Right.
That's why I don't consider myself a vocalist. I consider myself a songwriter.
You're the vocalist of vocalists. You're the most vocal vocalist I
know. Oh, come on now.
You've committed vocabular manslaughter.
Oh, it's terrible.
God.
That's fucking terrible.
That was actually kind of good, dude.
That was such a dad joke. I
That's
just
very,
can't.
See, Josie, you just can't get away from him.
I really can't. I'll
That
never
was
be able to
pretty
get
good.
away from them.
I'm just waiting for it to be like, okay, boomers.
I am not one that says that. Okay,
I do.
Don't-
I say
I
that
bet
shit.
you do.
We're
Not
not
only-
considered boomers, though.
Anyone over 25 is a boomer now,
Yeah,
motherfucker.
pretty much. That's what
Bullshit.
everybody.
Yeah.
A lot
Yeah,
of people
bitch.
my age and younger
Yep.
consider you guys boomers.
Yep.
What-
And they
what are-
call each other boomers.
Aren't we Generation X?
It doesn't matter.
Yes, but
You're a boomer based on what you just said.
yeah,
So if you say anything, like you could be 29 years old hanging out with a 30-year-old, and if the 29-year-old says some shit that sounds like an old man would say, you know what I mean? Like they'll call each other, they'll be like, okay, boomer.
I don't know if I like these rules.
I don't either. That's why I don't do it.
I love the okay boomer because it pisses a lot of people off. Like a
Right.
lot of people. Like you call me boomer, I just laugh because I'm like, yeah, I'm being a little bit of a boomer right now. But my favorite one is when they say that shit. They'll be like, I'm not a boomer, I'm Gen X or whatever. You'd be
Yeah.
like, okie dokie boomy.
Wow. Yeah.
One of my friends, Ryan, he was
Okie dokie,
talking to his
boomy.
mom, and I don't remember what she said, but he like went on this whole thing, okay, boomer, and she just got livid.
Yep,
She
yep.
freaked
It's
out.
great. It's so great. It's the greatest troll of all time, dude. It's
Like
here's-
I feel bad for the Karen thing. Like I don't like the Karen
I have
thing.
a lady that I work with. Her name is Karen.
well, maybe
And I
they should
feel
stop
so
being such
bad.
Karens.
Yeah. I mean, I get the generalization and stuff like that. You know, it's just like her mom used to
Speak
have
to the manager
Yeah, used to have
haircut.
the I want to speak to the manager haircut. And
I think it actually, yeah, that's where it started.
yeah.
Yeah.
But I think it actually came from Urban Dictionary.
Mhm.
So like you look up Jared, there's like it's been
description
turned into
about
a verb
you.
or an adjective or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, he's being a total Jared. And I think it's funny because I think the Jared one is actually like really nice and flattering,
Yeah.
Right.
but some of them aren't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so somebody went, I think this is really how it got started is like
I wouldn't be surprised.
that was on Urban Dictionary. Somebody like a recurring customer, because I can imagine when I worked at Guitar Center, some
Yeah.
fucking Edina housewife coming in and just being a fucking cunt about her fucking custom guitar she ordered for $15,000 that fucking has a hair on it.
Mhm.
She's like, it's scratched. I'm like, no, that's a hair. She's like, then wipe it off. I'm like, I'm not doing that. It's $15,000. You wipe it off. that never happened, but it could have.
But like,
easily.
yeah.
And then I find out, I know because I took the order. It's a big deal. It's in my brain. Her name's Karen, and she's a
Yeah.
total fucking cunt. And then all of a sudden is what happened. And she's got that haircut.
Yep.
And then all of a sudden I see that Urban Dictionary definition, and I take a picture of her next time she's in the store. I fucking take that and I put the whole thing together, and
Mhm.
boom, you've got a new meme called a Karen.
Yep.
I'm not sure where it turned and became a racist thing, because that's what it is now.
Are you
That's
kidding me?
stupid.
No, now
it
now
is.
Karens
It is,
are
yeah.
and now Karens are like really, really nasty, stuck up white bitches who are usually calling the cops on black people because they're afraid.
What
And-
the
and-
fuck?
And here's
Yeah,
the thing
yeah.
is like, fuck these cunts. Like, that's why I do like Karen, is because
Yeah.
like whatever we got to call those bitches, back in the day, all we had was cunt. Like, she's a cunt. Right? But you can't say that.
Right.
So I'm thinking maybe that's where Karen came from. Karen,
that's
For
cunt,
sure.
you know what I mean? Like,
Probably,
I
yeah.
have no idea where it came from, but I'm totally cool with it. Is what I think is hilarious is that pink shirt down in Missouri with the AR-15. Do you guys see? You know what I'm talking about?
No.
So when the
is she the one
anti-
that's running for office, or is?
no, so they were lawyers, and when Black Lives Matter, Antifa, whatever they
Oh yeah,
were,
yeah.
they
No,
broke
yeah.
the private gate and marched into
Yep.
that community.
Mhm.
Dude standing out there in a pink polo with an AR-15,
Yep.
and his cunt demon-esque looking of a fucking drag. Ugh, like her skin sag, and she just looks like a succubus. She's standing out there with this little fucking, I don't even know what it was, but a little handgun.
Little
She's
pistol.
pointing it at people.
Nick DiPaolo had a good thing about that.
My
the other day.
favorite thing is I seen them take a picture of that and
Mhm.
put it on a T-shirt, and it says "Run up, get done up." And that's
Yep.
been my catchphrase ever since
Yep.
I bought an AR-15. Like I'm a run up, get done up.
Dude.
But anyways, they named him Ken. That's what I was getting at with this whole thing.
Ken?
So pink shirt guy. That
Okay.
guy is now a Ken. So you've got
Hmm.
Kens and Karens. Ken is
Oh,
the
God.
male equivalent of a Karen.
and there's a Kyle in there somewhere too.
Kyle's are guys that punch sheetrock to look tough.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and drink a lot of Monster.
Yep.
Am I right?
Yep.
Am I right?
Yeah. I just dropped Kyle Glidden's name, so yeah, there you go, Kyle.
Speaking of Glidden, I've been trying to get him on the podcast. That fucker, he doesn't have time to even look at his schedule. He thinks like
he's a busy dude.
I
He
know,
is very busy.
I'll definitely
but
give
you
him that,
schedule your whole life.
Yeah. Yeah.
So tell me I can't do it
Yeah.
October, November, December. We'll figure it out.
I'll bug him.
But
I'll bug him.
Yeah.
don't, because
he's a funny dude, man.
Because I'm trying to give him shit.
Yeah.
Because he's like, dude, I'm super busy. I'm like, that's cool, but like, you have time to look at your schedule. You run a business. You like regularly look at your schedule. So when I go, hey, can you do this date?
Yeah.
Like it shouldn't take you a week to get back to me.
Fair enough.
I think he's just really nice and he's a really cool dude. So he's like he thinks he's going to hurt my feelings by being like, no, I can't. He's like, let me check. Because I don't think he understands by him like not being assertive.
I get you.
Yes, no.
Mm-hmm.
It's actually creating more issues.
Yeah.
So I'm actually like totally cool with it. I'm like, dude, I get it. It's not a priority you do right now. Like you got more shit going on. You got bigger fish to fry. Like if this was a serious priority, you'd make time for it. Like you're in a band, you run a business, you understand how to schedule. This clearly isn't on your radar right now.
Yeah.
And he's like, dude, that's really insulting. Like you're talking down to me and I'm like, no, dude. It's business. Like you run a business. Yep. I'm trying to run a business. There's zero hard feelings. He's like, I really want to do it. I'm like, that's not the point. I want to go deer hunting, but it's not a big enough priority for me to go deer hunting right now. There's other shit I got to do first. So if you invite me deer hunting, this example, it's once yearly. Yeah. So I'm going to be like, dude, maybe next year. That's all he's got to say is like, dude, maybe next, because I'm trying to book him in November right now. Yeah. Right. And so he could just simply say that. But I think he thinks like I'm mad. And I like think poorly of him. And I'm trying to explain to him like, no, dude, we're good. Just give me a straight yes or no. And I'll move on with my life. Like, because it is starting starting to feel though that he just doesn't want to do it. And he's just too nice to say so.
I think he would want to do it. I don't think
I use this line on him. I use this line on him. I'm going to ask you if you've ever used this line. I was like, dude, it's starting to feel like I'm asking a girl out. And she's like, I can't. I have to wash my hair. Have you ever used that?
I haven't used that, but I've used other lines.
I bet a girl's used that on you.
Maybe. I don't know.
Way back in the day, think about it. Way back in the day, like, hey, you want to go out on Friday night, see a movie? And she's like, I can't. I got to wash my hair.
I doubt it because most girls asked him on dates. Dude,
I'm not. I'll be totally brutally honest with you.
Before the music, it happened.
No, I never asked anybody out.
Really?
I don't think maybe. I think maybe it's happened
you
twice.
Piece of shit.
No. But it's just. I'm
just kidding.
I'm so scared of rejection.
We're all friends here.
I'm so scared of rejection, and I'm so like afraid to do that. Yeah, like I just for whatever fucking reason, I can't find it within myself to do that. And a lot of the like dating and stuff like that has just been completely circumstantial by like what has been happening in the moment or something like that, where you just
it is way easier when you let them come to you.
Yeah,
like you're not going to get as many opportunities. Because like there's not a lot of women out there that'll pursue a man.
I'm such a chicken shit though when it comes to it though.
I believe it or not. I feel you on that one. Believe it or not. Believe it or not. I know it's hard to believe. But I do have this thing called the fuck it. Okay. And I do not advise you to use this. I don't really advise anyone to do this. This is just something I've always had. Right. Where I have this fear of regret. Okay. Let me explain this very carefully. I have this grinding fear that I'm going to be on my deathbed and be like, I wish I would have done that one thing. Right. Like, I wish I would have. Whatever that
Fair
thing
enough.
is.
Yeah.
Just whisper, I wish I would have. Like, I do not want to die.
Yeah.
However it happens. A gut shot wound in the hood, like defending, fucking some little kid, whatever. I don't fucking know. Make up your fucking ending.
Yeah.
Old man in my deathbed surrounded by my family. I don't care how I die.
I get it.
While I'm dying, I just don't want, I wish I would have anything. End that sentence with whatever you want. So whenever I get scared in those moments, and this is the fucked up part, I developed this at like 8 years old, you guys. 8 years old. Okay. I was like, when I felt these moments, I literally would go, fuck it. And then I would just go. And it started with me being too afraid to jump off a cliff into the river.
Oh, I've done that.
At like 20 feet. At like 20 feet, which isn't high, but at 8 years old, it's high as fuck.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah.
And I was so fucking scared. And finally, something just came over me. I was like, fuck it. And I just went. Because, like, I realized I wasn't going to go.
I say,
does that make any sense?
When I get what you're saying, because I do it too. I say full send instead of fuck it. Full send, just do it, and then I go for it.
There you go. It's basically the exact same thing.
Yeah.
But I call it the fuck it, and that's the only time I've been able to ask out girls. Same thing, or even kiss a girl when I was out on a date. Same thing. All the same nervous energy, and I'm like, oh, fuck it, and just go for it. Because I just don't want to regret. And believe it or not, it hasn't always worked. Like there's been times where the fuck it didn't kick in, and and that's why I have some regrets. Is because it was just opportunities I didn't like go after.
Right?
Like, fuck. I didn't summon the fuck it.
Yep. Yep. No, I get that, and I understand that some people just have that kind of drive for just everything in life. But I've always just been, for the most part, just I second guess myself so much. It doesn't matter what it could be. I have such a I have a super low opinion of myself. Just from things that I do, from my daily life, from just everything, and it's just something I just kind of built up. Being a kid and stuff like that. Like I just, I wasn't always the most fashionable kid in fucking high school. I wasn't, the one that was sought after by everybody and stuff like that. Like I just had to pretty much go and do my thing, and I just felt like girls didn't fucking give a shit about what I had to offer.
Until
or
you
whatnot.
start doing
like
music,
and that helped. It did contribute.
What's that like being a chick musician? Do boys at school think it's cool, or do they think it's weird?
No, they like it.
They like it.
Yeah.
I mean, you're not bad.
Oh, Josie, you're a singer.
You're
Can
not
I hear
bad
one of
looking
your
either.
songs?
So you're probably already dealing with some pretty irritating boys, and then being a musician makes that worse.
I mean, I guess it depends. Sometimes, yeah.
Well, people, she's a pretty girl. Let's be honest.
That's what I just said.
And it's just, she's got good charisma. She's got good character about it. Then when you throw the singing voice on top of it too, it's just, I was a sucker for women musicians back when I was younger.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely been.
I didn't know any, so I can't.
Right.
There's been some creepers where I've been like, don't talk to me anymore, please. But like,
we had a conversation about that on our last.
I think so. Yeah, didn't we?
Yeah. Well, you weren't here for that one.
I guess what?
No, this is one that the last one that Jared and I did. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
About somebody kind of. Who. Yeah.
There's been 2 of them, but yeah.
Oh, don't worry, there will be more.
I know.
Yep. It's only gonna get worse, but
yeah.
That's why you gotta carry around mace.
Right.
And
I have a rape whistle in my purse, so.
You also need a knife.
Yeah.
And we should get you some jujitsu training too.
Well, I'm gonna get my.
That's what's
I'm
really
gonna get my conceal and
save your
carry,
shit.
so there's gonna be that too.
Honestly, like thinking about this because I'm married. Like honestly, I think jujitsu training would be the smartest thing because they can take a gun from you, right? Like a lot of things can go wrong. Like one of the things as I get more and more trained in guns, like if somebody breaks into my house in the middle of the night, it's dark. And I wake up and I just grab my 9mm and shoot once, the sound and the light are going to be so fucking insane. I'm going to make myself go deaf for a moment and I'm not going to be able to see anything.
Exactly.
If I miss
very
or
true.
don't
I never thought
kill
about
them,
that. Yeah.
If I miss or don't kill them and they bum rush me, now they can take that gun and use it against me. So in a situation, I'm not saying don't get a gun, but something that you can immediately do because that's not.
Well,
gonna
I've
be
been brought
easy.
up with them too. Like my grandpa is very big into stuff like that.
Sure,
so.
But it's hard to fucking get your CNC permit. Like I went and got my fucking certification 3 months ago, and I'm just able to go submit it tomorrow, and then it takes another 30 days.
Yeah,
and then like. There's going to be moments where it's not even practical to carry a gun.
Is that because of the background check kind of stuff? That's why it's taking so long? Or is it like...
No, it's because of COVID. So they shut down the government.
Yeah.
And it's
Try getting your driver's license again. Dude,
no kidding. Okay. I was there.
Right.
Are you kidding me?
aside from you, like
welcome to Hating the Government 101.
I was
by the way.
so mad.
Yeah.
The DMV literally shut down a week before I was supposed to take my test. A week. And then I had to wait an extra 2 or 3 months to
How's
get
that make
my
you feel?
stupid. Oh my god!
Which she calls me up crying and stuff like that. And of course, me being who I am, I'm just laughing my ass off. I'm like, oh,
I was
welcome,
so pissed.
welcome to the welcome to life, baby. That's just the way it goes.
That's so fucking funny. Yeah, welcome to Hating the Government 101.
Yeah,
It only gets worse from here.
But yeah, but I lost my fucking wallet a couple months ago, and because everything is shut down. You need to make an appointment, and so White Bear is the closest area that I live, and so I went over to the DMV over there and stuff like that. I need to make an appointment. Okay, so I go online to go make an appointment. Next appointment was the middle of October, and I'm like, I'm not going to wait 4 months, 3-4 months to get my fucking license back. Are you kidding me? So I went down to St. Paul DMV. And that's a very special place. That's
dude. So it's basically the same thing.
Yeah.
With the fucking CNC permits, but you can't just go somewhere else.
Yeah.
You have to do it in the county you live in.
Yep. Okay.
So I live in Hennepin County.
Yep.
The most populated county.
Right. Exactly.
There's one place to do it.
Yeah. You're fucked.
It's like 2 million people in the greater Hennepin County area.
Right.
It's like 2 million people.
Yep.
And all 2 million of them decided to get CNC permits as soon as COVID hit.
Yep. It is a thing.
No, it was actually after George Floyd.
Yeah.
Like, you could have got in pretty easily still if you would have tried to get one right after COVID. That wasn't really the problem. The real problem was when the George Floyd riots hit. That put everyone on edge, Well,
the defunding is what scared everybody, I think, into it. Now,
just even mentioning it. I think we covered that on our last podcast.
And now they retracted it, of course.
Well, and people are so fucking naive to what that even meant in the first place, because it doesn't mean just like getting rid of cops. I don't want to go into the depths and nuances of it, but there's layers and levels to it. But the point is that we were already in a point of civil unrest. Even mentioning the idea of defunding the police, even in entertaining that idea publicly, those words they emboldened the redliners, the people that are just barely society's restraints and fear of getting caught and repercussions.
Yeah.
That's what's like barely keeping them in line.
Absolutely. Dude, I agree with you 100%.
So as soon as they heard defund the police, they were like, now's my chance.
Yep.
Because if we make it worse, if they're willing to snap now, we just overwhelm them and then they'll just break.
Yep.
And then that's how the whole thing falls.
Yep. And most of them are getting released anyways.
Yep.
So
and then you had real criminals, right? And they took advantage of that shit. They were emboldened by that as well. And so, it just made everything worse. And then the city council, who said they were going to do it, wanted to do it because they're a bunch of virtue signaling fucks.
Absolutely.
They turn around and have the audacity to go, where are all the police?
No, right. No shit.
That's the most ironic thing out of the whole thing is like, oh, well, when you need them,
fucking idiots.
It's okay for you guys. Like, stop it. We're a law and order society. We have to be.
We have to. We already tried this once. It was called the Wild West, and it was a horrible failure.
Right. Exactly.
Like, what the fuck? Like, it's like, seriously. It's like, and that's my big problem with everybody right now is like, and I understand the desire to be nostalgic because it does seem like we had some things figured out and we've lost our way, but a lot of the things that people want to bring back were terrible ideas to begin with, which is why we got rid of them. But they keep acting like that was actually better. And it's like, no, it wasn't better 30 years ago. It was way fucking worse.
Yeah, it's the uninformed and uneducated that want to bring that shit back. It's like, you guys are not doing your research. You're going off of emotions and you're going off of, cliff notes from somebody who's a fucking Marxist or whatever the hell their belief is, that is outside of the realm of law and order and what it takes to actually run the society that we live in and run it properly. And granted, we're always going to have faults. Somebody's always going to fuck up. You're always going to have somebody, it's like I wish all cops were great people.
And it's really the generation in between her and us that is doing this.
Yeah.
our saving grace is going to be her and my brother's generation because they are fucking smart.
Yes.
You guys are hilarious, by the way. Your entire fucking generation cracks me the fuck up. They call them the Zoomers.
Zoomers?
They're the Zoomer generation.
For real? I didn't even know that.
I
mean, yeah, we're
Zoomers.
Gen Z.
Dude,
so
that makes
sense.
that makes complete sense.
And with the new Zoom technology,
Yep.
you know, like, they're the Zoomers.
They call me Zoomer at work, actually. It's kind of funny.
Yeah.
I like that.
And you guys will be our saving grace because they see through all the shit that dupes our generations, like how we get duped by the fucking social media shit. Like they see through all of it. They laugh at it. They think it's hilarious how upset our generation gets.
Josie, say hi to Brock for a second.
Hi, Brock.
Brock's watching us.
Shout
right
out
now.
to Brock. Oh, did he text
I love
you?
Brock.
Yeah,
he's awesome.
You're lucky, Brock. You son of a bitch. They're supposed to have their phones off.
Hey, I'm not.
Fucking
I'm
amateur hour.
not
Amateur hour, Brock. You got lucky.
Yeah.
You snuck one in, Brock.
I got to tell you what, buddy, though. My phone's on vibrate and it's been tickling my balls this entire time. So, yeah, thanks for keeping me in the loop.
That's what we do here. We bring people pleasure of all kinds.
No,
my
Brock's great.
Yeah, my famous friends, the duo group that I do, has a very fun fan base up in the whole like Freeport, Albany area, like of Minnesota. Like
so that was a fan reaching out?
Yeah.
All right,
super
Brock.
good friends with his daughters.
You got a shout out. That means you're obligated to sub. You have to subscribe to the channel now. You got a shout out.
He said he just liked the podcast, so we'll see what he does here with it.
Nice.
But yeah, he's.
I think that
dude.
means he liked the episode, but that's fine.
Yeah, no, they're all a lot of fun people. I tell you what,
that's cool as fuck.
What I love about the people up there.
That's cool because that means people are actually watching it.
Yeah.
I think the first 2 live ones we did, the real like this, I think there was like 6 people watching, and one of them was my wife. She just checked in every 15 minutes to let me know it was still up.
But there's a really kick-ass group of people up there and stuff like that that they all like. Dude, I wish I had this kind of connection with my friends and stuff because as you know, doing what we do, doing music or doing, you know, when you've gotten into your life so much down here in the city, it seems like a lot of friends kind of go by the wayside and stuff. And you just, you know, like I'm down to like 4 friends now, you know, 4 or 5 maybe. And of true friends that I actually see on a regular basis or I hang out with, maybe even less. Where these guys, there's like 25 of them, 30 of them.
It's a big group and they just all get together like all the time.
Yeah. And party and tear it up and go out to shows together. They all travel to Rockfest together. They all go out and just, and it's so cool. I wish I had that kind of like that nice like tight community of people around me and stuff like that. And
I mean, they're
fucking great, man.
We do. We're
just
constantly split up across the state and across the country doing shows and touring and shit.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But that's the other thing is like we do have these shows where luckily locally we have the equity to kind of call our own shots and book our own bills.
Yeah.
So when we play locally, we play with who we want to play with.
Yeah.
Locally, we're not worried about gaining new fans. I mean, maybe I will be at first with the new project because I haven't done music in so fucking long. Nobody even remembers that I'm a musician, let alone that I play guitar or write music or
they're gonna.
You know what I mean? Like,
they's gonna.
But most of us don't. And we're playing locally because our fans want us to play and they deserve to see a show.
Yeah.
But it's really for us as well and for our friends. And so we pick the bands, you know, it's like all our friends who fucking never could ever see our band before. It's like, okay, I guarantee you've done this. I guarantee it. Once you had the equity and you could literally book, you know, like, okay, we're going to play Minneapolis again somewhere February to April because that's when we're going to be back in town.
Yeah.
And there's one person you really want at that show. You'll be like, all right, you weren't able to make the last 3. What weekend are you available? And that person's like the 5th and you're like done. And you booked the show on the 5th because of that.
I don't know if I've ever done that, to be honest.
I've
thought about it.
I totally have. Dude.
I've thought about it. But like I said, like, you know, our in the last podcast, it's like our fan base grew out of control really fast.
Yeah.
So it was super, super easy for us to, well, if you didn't make it, too bad. You fucking missed out because there was fucking 700 other people there that had a good time and you could have been one of them, you know?
Yeah.
Like it was like we already had that, you know, that value built up as far as, you know, doing shows go and stuff. So we were spoiled. and I, I'm very grateful for it or whatnot. But I never really had to do. I mean, we would do our basic street promotion. Granted, when I worked for Old Chicago as a bartender for forever.
Yeah.
And so it's like I'd see random people, coming to sit at my bar and stuff like that, and I'd fucking pass out shit to them and stuff. But it was like we were very blessed that for whatever reason, just a lot of people gravitated to what we were doing really fast. And I don't think I ever really had to play that game. So yeah,
it was great. Once I started booking my own shows, I'd fucking it was mostly my parents is who I do it for, because like I wanted to make sure they could be there and shit. So I wasn't at desperation to just take any random
for
show.
Sure.
And it was so funny because by the time I had the ability to do that, my parents weren't interested in coming anymore. They were like, "You don't need our support," and I was like, "I need your validation."
Oh, my parents went because they loved the
my parents hated my bands. All of them. Can't stand them.
Oh, that's too bad.
Can't stand them. My mom thinks the cymbals give her a headache.
Yep.
It's not my music. It's anything heavy and loud.
Yeah.
And I've never been
That's how
into
Grandma
not
Patty
loud.
is.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
She's just like, I just can't. She's like, I think it's really cool that you're into it. She's supportive, but she just can't do it. The best part is when my grandma came and seen the Tyrants, she had to leave early because it was so loud. It messed up her pacemaker.
Oh,
she lived.
That's
She's
scary.
fine. She's still alive.
That's scary.
She's fine.
Okay, that's good.
Jeez.
But that's my proudest rock and roll moment.
Oh wow.
Oh,
no, you see,
jeez.
my folks, they love the party. They absolutely love the attention and the all the people they got to meet. They go back and sell our merchandise, and they be talking to people. They be upselling our shit. Well, then you should probably buy that record too. Just
really?
So they're back there. They're working
Totally.
working the hell out of it and stuff. And they became a big force of just. First of all, for any parents to do that for their kid is fucking outstanding. Whether if they like it or if they don't, I think I was fortunate enough that I didn't write too many songs that alienated my parents too much. They weren't, it wasn't, what the hell is this about, and just whatever. And I pretty much washed my mouth for the most part. There's a couple songs where I drop an occasional F-bomb or something like that. But, other than that, it's like they were 110% behind it, and they saw the growth. They saw the whole thing just kind of blowing up and stuff like that. And they wanted to be, I want to be part of this too. It's, especially my dad being a drummer and, my mom just being my mom,
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's kind of cool. So, Josie gets it from a different end because, it's just like I'm in the industry and stuff like that. So she gets the, when there's something fucked up or something like that, I can call it out and be like, hey, watch out for this. This is what's going on.
Right.
And even if she were to,
I mean, there's generations worth of advice here now.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Yeah, no, and we've seen some good and bad and the ugly already, even though she hasn't really gotten out and done her thing yet. But, there's certain warning signs to watch out for good things and for bad things and stuff. And I think that's very important that if she does try to do something with this beyond, she's in high school right now, she, is going to, if she's going to college and she's, playing in a band on the side or whatever it might be and stuff like that, she's always going to have good people around her that are going to be able to help her out too. And I wish I would have had that. I wish my dad would have been more involved in the industry or whatever.
Right.
He was doing a cover gig and it supported our family for years.
I mean, you still had more knowledge than I did. My dad or my stepdad at the time was friends with people in cover bands.
Yeah.
So I feel like that gave me a huge advantage to grow up around it and hang out and party with those guys. I didn't party with them, but I did hang out at the parties.
Yeah.
So like real parties.
Yeah, right.
Parties I should not have at 3 to 7 years old.
Right.
I don't know why, but tits were better in the 80s. There's something in the food.
Sorry, Josie. Yep.
You're in the industry now.
To be honest, I'm used to it. It's all right.
And that's the thing is like if you're going to be a female in the industry, number one, got to hang with the boys.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
Like
Exactly.
Yep.
It's happening in the comedic world where these female comedians are starting to get offended by shit that the boys are saying backstage, and it's like if you want to crush the industry that you're trying to be a part of, go ahead and make that an issue, because like you have no idea how uncomfortable I've been backstage as a grown fucking man hearing and seeing some of the shit I've seen. I'll tell you a story another time.
Okay.
because I don't even want to say it in front of you, because even this is a story you don't tell in front of a lady. You know what I mean?
I gotcha.
But it was backstage.
Yeah.
At one of our venues.
Okay.
And it was fucking wild. And
Yeah.
it was one of those things where it was like, I was so grossed out and uncomfortable.
No shit, huh?
What I seen backstage. I was like, dude, I gotta get the fuck out of here. Like, I couldn't. And I was done going backstage the rest of the night. So you're just going to see it in the music industry. Yeah. And the craziest thing is the wildest people that are doing the weirdest shit backstage and saying the most horrible shit backstage are the best of the best when it comes to their art and their craft. Like they're insane weird about people. Yeah. Like musicians and comedians are so similar in that way. Like, trust me, the more talented they are, the more demons they got.
Yeah. That's very true.
Trust me.
That's very, very fucking true. I can't honestly think of like, man, we were so milk and fucking toast. Like we're just fucking dry toast. We never really did a lot of stuff and whatever. We most weird stuff I ever saw was more or less coming from fans. From people who wanted to kind of show us that they were like, oh yeah, dude, we're the party, you know, fucking we want to tag along with you guys. We're going to be wild and crazy. And it's just like, no, we're just hanging out. We just want to drink our Tanqueray tonic and call it good. Dude, and like, thanks, you know, just.
Do you know how many times I would disappear after shows? Man, even out of town shows, like we'd get off playing because we were always the opening act at this time. So we'd get off stage. And some fucking people, because I would always yell some crazy shit. I would always yell some crazy ass irresponsible shit at the end of the set, like, hey, anybody that wants to ...
right
hit me up. And then I'd get off stage, sign some autographs. Fucking kids are amazing, by the way. I don't ever want to play to drunk adults ever again. Like, kids are the best, man. But I was still a kid at this time, so it's not as weird as it sounds now. But seriously, I was like 17. So these are, 15, 16-year-old kids. You know, they were driving and shit. And even doing out-of-town gigs and shit. And this continued through my early 20s. And, the girls were the same age, too. So they're 21 to 24. So we can all drink and shit. Now it's like, as a 35, almost 40-year-old guy, it's like, it'd be a little bit weird. Depends. But here's where I'm going with this. Somebody would be like, hey man, you want to go smoke a joint or whatever, or hey man, there's this after party you want to go hang out at. I'd be like, fuck yeah. I would always say yeah. Like sometimes I'd be in the middle of Wisconsin and just get in someone's car and we'd be gone for like 2 hours. I'd get back, the show would be almost over, and my band members are, where the fuck have you been? I was like, I was partying with the fans, man. What have you guys been doing? But it worked because every time we came back to that fucking town, there was double amount of people. So we'd go from 100 to 200, from 200 to 400 every time we did this. And it was my secret little PR thing. Like I was running off, fucking partying with fans. They had a hell of a story.
Nothing wrong with that. Yeah.
And they would tell people for the next 6 months until we showed up back in town. They'd be like, these guys are fucking out of control.
Yeah. I had two instances where I ran off with this one chick to a party after a show in Sioux Falls, and she's
Falls.
And I know Sioux Falls we used to be a really fun town for us. I mean,
no, that's what I'm saying. It's a fucking
and we used to
get into some trouble.
We used to pull pretty big there. We got a lot of love from their radio station and stuff. And after one of our shows, this bartender chick, she's like, hey, there's a party going on over in this part of town. Did you want to come with? I'm like, fuck yeah, I want to see what Sioux Falls is like. I want to see what what your party atmosphere is. And she was very pretty and a lot of fun and very charismatic and stuff like that. And we took off after everything got loaded out and stuff. Mind you, I still loaded out. Okay, I loaded up the trailer and stuff like that. I'm not that singer that will just fucking bail on my band. So take off, and it's the middle of the fucking night, and we're driving, and I'm like, where the fuck are we going? Like, I mean, she could have like bailed me out of the car right there and been like, ha, fucker, I could have been dead as far as I know. So we get to this little, if there's a suburb of Sioux Falls, it's I don't know where the fuck it was, but it ends up being at this house in the middle of fucking nowhere. Well, this massive party that she was preaching about was 3 dudes, and they're all doing fucking meth. And I'm like, this sucks. Okay.
Damn,
I don't do
stuck there.
I don't do drugs. I fucking, I drink, but I'm not that fucking guy. And I'm like, this sucks. And she starts doing it with him. And I'm like, well, now this is really uncomfortable because how the fuck am I getting home? Now you have to figure out, and I ended up
back in the day, you couldn't just call an Uber. You had to find a phone.
Yeah.
Then you had to call a cab company.
Dude,
and they needed your address.
Mm-hmm.
Which you probably didn't know.
And I'm pretty sure I had a little flip phone or something like that at the time, something that was completely non-responsive for GPS or anything or whatnot. So I remember having to literally fucking drive us back into town to figure out where, just how the fuck I can get out of this situation and stuff, and I plan on just getting fucked up and having a good time with all these people. No, it was the worst set of circumstances ever. And then the next time I did it again. And then, this is a very fucking weird story, actually. It pertains to.
Have you heard all these stories?
Not that one. So.
Yeah. This one pertains to a guitar player from a certain national act in this town, who.
Hold on, say that again.
A guitar player from a certain national act in this town.
They're from this town?
Oh yes, they are. Yeah, and everybody knows who the fuck they are. And he was my sound guy for a little bit, and turned out to be a complete fucking crack addict fucking asshole, and started fights with all our people that came out to see us. We had a show that we drew about 400.
I can't follow this story. I'm
trying to think of who it is.
They're very heavy. Everybody knows who the fuck they are. Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Okay, so then the question is which guitar player?
Well, Karma, of course.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't fucking know,
and,
dude.
Yeah,
I know a couple people from Head Charge.
And Karma's a very talented guy. He can play guitar like a motherfucker. His problem is he's just like the rest of that group. They're too fucking into their drugs and they're too into their, themselves. And with Karma, him and I hit it off just great and stuff like that. We had been good friends for a little bit, not hanging out all the time or anything like that, but when we'd go to the bar, we'd be hanging out with each other and shit and just talking shit and whatever. And so my friend Danny, who also manages Dolly Parton and fucking couple other. He was working with Slipknot at the time and stuff like that. He's like, dude, Karma's your guy. You want him as your sound guy. Like that's because we were doing our thing. Danny took a liking to us and stuff, and so we brought Karma into the picture as our front of house guy, and went out and absolutely just killed it at these shows. It was great. Best sound we've ever had at First Avenue. Just destroyed it. Fucking like this dude knew his shit. He's a very, very good sound guy. Well, apparently he's been and. I could be wrong about this, but I'm pretty sure I'm fucking right. He's been canned from fucking every job as a front of house guy, from everybody from Jerry Cantrell to Mike Patton to all these other people that he's worked with and stuff, where there's been some bug or some quirk that's gotten his ass canned. So where there's smoke, there's fire, whatever. I was just next in line to fucking take the bait. And so I brought him on board to run sound for us, and he's kicking ass. So again, we bring him to an out-of-town show, goes on a fucking tirade, fucking, hey, take me to N-Town. I need to get some crack. Like fucking yelling at, hey, fat girl, come here. Just like saying all this shit, insulting all my friends, all these people. And I took off that night, which was dumb. I thought I had him settled down. I thought I had him corralled. So I take off, I wake up the next morning at like fucking 7:30 in the morning, and my phone is blown up with fucking it was like 48 missed calls. I'm like, God damn it. And so I got hammered and passed out or whatever. So I get a ride back to the hotel. There's my entire band standing out there in front of the hotel. Everybody's packed and ready to go. They're like, where have you been? I'm like, what did he do? They're like, well, and they gave me an entire laundry list of shit that this guy did, from destroying the fucking hotel room, TV, ripping the fucking lampshades off the wall. I think he broke the fucking window. He literally went on a fit and destroyed this fucking hotel room. Grabbed my bass player Steve out of a fucking dead sleep, and he's like, if you fucking tell Wally about this, I'll fucking kill you. I swear to Christ, I'll fucking kill you. Like, just went nuts. And they're literally, I'm only giving you like the Cliff Note version. Like, this is a long list of shit. So I had to go in the fucking hotel room, and I've got the whole band behind me. I'm sitting on the bed, and he's passed out, and I'm like, Karma, get the fuck up. Kind of looks over me, starts laughing. I'm like, get up. And he turns on, he's like, what's your fucking problem? I'm like, look at the room, dude. Kind of looks around and kind of laughs, and I'm like, yeah, it's fucking funny, isn't it? I've got to fucking pay for it. Here's $50. Get yourself a bus ticket and get the fuck home.
Wow.
Go fuck yourself. And so we we're leaving town, and we get about probably about 30 miles outside of town. My phone's blowing up. It's him, just like, and I'm not answering. I'm just, because I'm just not gonna deal with that shit. And it's him blowing me up. The message that I listened to was kind of humorous. He was crying his fucking eyes out because he was, dude, you got to come get me, man. This is horrible. You can't just leave me here like this. I'm in nowhere, North Dakota. No, we weren't in North Dakota. We weren't anywhere near North Dakota.
You're in South Dakota.
Yeah, and at the bottom of the state. So it's just like fucking, god damn it. So I was like, all right, well, let's go back and get him. So we went back and got him because I'm a fucking, bleeding heart like that. We pick him up, and as he's getting in the van, I just two fingers into his chest. I'm like, no. I'm like, here's the deal. You're going to sit down. You're going to shut the fuck up. You're going to enjoy the ride. If you have to pee, we'll pull over and stop, whatever. Otherwise, I'm just bringing you home. I'm going to drop you off. I never want to fucking see you again. We're never going to have another conversation, hang out, whatever, nothing. And and it sucks because he's a very talented dude, very gifted player, very gifted sound guy. But his quirk is he's
smokes crack.
Yep.
Crack.
Yep. That's not good, man. That's not good. That shit will
give me some crack.
It's when is that a good idea? So whatever, it is what it is. But that was So those were the only two times that I ever really went off and did anything, and that was early 2000s, I want to say. So right around when they did the feeding. That's when Karma got into the group and stuff like that. And I don't even know if he was a full-time member when he was my sound guy. He was just more or less just playing live with him.
That's insane.
And dude, it was the fucking worst. It was absolutely the worst. And it's embarrassing. It's embarrassing to my people that I've worked my ass off to get out to come to shows and stuff like that, by doing all the groundwork that we do and everything. And he goes out there and he's insulting him, and everybody's looking at me going, why did you bring this guy along? So it was very embarrassing and just fucking terrible, man. I don't know.
So moral of the story, be prepared to work with crack addicts.
Of course, right.
Yeah.
I mean, naturally, yeah.
But again, it just goes
and
to show
always book tours with someone else's money.
There's dickheads and somebody else in everybody's
Otherwise,
profession.
you're going to get that bill for that trash hotel room.
Yeah. Yep. But that was a shame. I mean, hotel rooms are supposed to be fun on the road and stuff like that. I don't believe in the trashing thing. That's what got fucking, if I'm not mistaken, that's what got Clint fucking fired from Korn, for Clint from Seven Dust when he was playing with Korn. He took over for Head and he got fucking stupid fucked up. Well, the guys in Korn don't go for that kind of shit. They're pro,
right?
And granted, they've all got their demons and their addictions and stuff like that. But Clint made a fucking ass out of himself, from what I understand. And sorry, dude.
Right. It's one thing if it's the band shtick.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's another if you're just one random asshole in the band trying to fucking.
Things are different now, man. People, I just believe in treating people with respect. Don't go and fucking destroy somebody's room or fucking be an asshole, especially when you're not paying for it. Fuck that. Just, I don't know. I know. Everybody's had moments and shit, but I mean,
Not
I don't
me.
know. Something I don't believe that for a second, Pinocchio.
I've never trashed a hotel
really?
room. Goddamn right.
Really?
Fuck no,
that's cool, man. That's
someone
cool.
I was in a band with did though.
Yeah. No, We've all been around him.
If he's watching this,
you know who you are.
That's funny. I don't know. I just, it's just, running a show like what we did, and the amount of responsibility that went with it and stuff like that, like all that shit eventually falls on my shoulders and stuff like that. And people are looking at me like, why are you associating with these people? Why are you bringing them around and stuff like that? I mean, he's definitely not a guy I'd want to introduce to my parents or anything like that. I'm saying, like, well, he's probably not going to have any, if he doesn't have any respect for the hotel rooms and like the things that we do and shit like that on the road
being
stuff.
In a band with that guy, where like not like he was in Head Charge. Imagine like he's like a real band member, so you're like dependent on this guy to like write music.
Scary.
And you have to deal with that because that's somebody was in that band with that guy.
Yeah.
If he's that good, he was in a band at some point in time where somebody desperately needed him to get his shit together, and he still didn't, which is probably how he ended up being a sound guy in the first place. Because it's less daily face to face. All I got to do is show up for the gig. As long as I have enough crack, I can get through my fucking sound gig. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, I don't have to be in a room with these guys for 6 hours writing music or in the studio, so it's easier for him.
Yeah.
And he still couldn't even make that work after a while.
Yeah.
It's fucking rough, man. That sucks.
Do you need to bail for school tomorrow?
Yeah.
I was
going to
say
we should
wrap this up.
big test tomorrow.
Okay.
I was going to say, so
I was
gonna
say we should wrap this up anyways. We've been going over 2 hours. Are you still doing shit with weather getting colder and fucking COVID shit shutting shit down?
Now, what's going on now is that I'll still do shows with Dan, but solo shows are gone. So I'm doing Fridays and Saturdays with Dan usually. Otherwise, I'm back to doing studio shit. As we kind of discussed.
So it's just the two of you?
Yeah.
We should figure out a way for you two to come on here and do something.
That'd be pretty comical.
Absolutely.
I mean, like literally perform though.
Yeah.
Like, because I'm thinking I could probably set up the cams in a way over there, so we had a little bit more space.
Oh, dude, we could even run it into our mixer and just send you 2 outs, and you got a stereo out going right to your shit if you want to.
That'll be perfect.
Yeah.
That'll be perfect then. We should do that, dude, because people are going to be starving for music here real soon. Because the few shit that is going on is changing with the weather here, at least locally.
Yep.
I don't know how it's being impacted around the nation. We do have listeners around the nation, but they can get a little fucking insight into the Minneapolis music scene. You guys are doing covers?
Oh, it's all cover shit though. Yeah, it's funny though. It's
fun.
As long as there's
really
I don't think I'll get flagged for that because it's your own performances of those covers. So I think we're good. And if not, fuck it. Who cares? Who gives a shit? But yeah. I thought you guys had like a Skywines or something coming up. Did that get canceled?
There's been some dates being kicked around, but we haven't confirmed anything and stuff like that. I
got nothing coming up? Not yet?
Nah, she's kind of...
Whatever he tells me I'm doing, that's what I do.
She usually comes out and plays like acoustic shows with me and stuff too. And
you guys should come on next time you have some music to play. So whether that's in a couple weeks or a couple months.
Dude, that'd be fun.
Yeah,
and then,
for sure.
When you get your album done, come on and just make it part of your promo thing.
Love to.
It'll be great. Where can people follow you guys online?
My Instagram is JOSNIEMIEC.
You're gonna have to rewind that, I know.
And then my Facebook is just Josie Niemiec.
Got it.
Yep. And you can find me all over Facebook for My Famous Friends Band, I believe it is. And then Bingoat is the other thing, and then just the basic Wally Joseph on Facebook. So
perfect. All right, guys, we'll wrap this up. Blah 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 blah. I'm getting tired. Subscribe. Fuck. Subscribe, share, that whole deal. You guys can follow me online if you want to for social. I don't post much. I should get better at it, but they're all at the top of the YouTube page. There's little direct links in the header. Thank you guys. We'll see you tomorrow night. Actually, I think I'm doing another one live. I got Aaron Lanick on, so looking forward to that. See you guys. I'm so fucking tired. That was such an awkward outro.
It's all good. That was fun, dude. Thanks, man.
Awesome.